the handsome liberal. I want to make sure I got everything on Wi-Fi and not on so bear with me here. Okay, there we go. I think we should be good to go. Okay, a few developments as always. It seems like every time we come online, there is something new or I'll say something new and or unusual coming from the Trump administration. I mean, the Trump administration is I guess for content creators and political talking heads, it's sort of the gift that keeps on giving. There's always something going on in the Trump administration to talk about that is unusual. I'm not talking about from an angle of TDS, Tango Delta Sierra, Trump derangement syndrome. I'm talking about from an era of groundbreaking, historic, unusual. And today is not going to be any different. I'll give it to you in a moment. But before we do that, I want to let you know, I think we've all heard that the Catholic religion has selected a new pope. You see that on the monitor behind me. What is his name? Pope Leo, coming out of Chicago, Illinois. So he is the first American pope coming out of Chicago. Now, I'm not very religious. I've made that clear in the program. I'm not very religious, even though I grew up deeply in the church and aspired to be a pastor when I was a young lad, but I'm not religious now. However, in regards to this topic, the reason I covered it, not only because it is breaking news, but I think this could be very interesting. In fact, even though I don't associate with the Catholic religion at all, when I heard about this, I was quite delighted, and I'm going to tell you why. I think this is a really good thing. I really like this. I made the joke that it might make me turn Catholic. Not likely, but I really like the fact that they have elected a pope from the USA from Chicago, and you may know where I'm going with this. We'll talk about it in a minute. Also, we always come with receipts. We come with clips. Today is no different. I want you to hear a little bit of ongoing. I don't know, got problems with the cable here, but we'll get the HDMI cable working there in a minute. But I want you to hear a clip coming from. This is what I told you. I said I got a surprise for you. This is it. This is the surprise I have for you. This might be a shocker to some. Others may not find this to be shocking at all. And to some degree, it's almost expected coming from President Trump. Nevertheless,
minutes ago, one of the co-hosts of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro, will be appointed interim United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump announced that on Truth Social just moments ago. Jeanine was Assistant District Attorney for Westchester County, New York, and then went on to serve as County Judge and District Attorney, where she was the first woman ever to be elected to those positions. She will be leaving Fox to take this position, and we obviously wish her well. Hey, Sean.
Now, Judge Jeanine Pirro is nothing more than a mouthpiece for President Trump. There is not going to be anything unbiased about Judge Jeanine Pirro at all. So for my folks that are celebrating this appointment, and I see I got a few folks on YouTube like this guy going awesome. Now, Judge Jeanine Pirro is the one I often criticize on the program as one of the reasons I don't watch Fox as much as I used to, even though I have enjoyed watching Fox for almost 20 years. On January 6th, on the evening of January 6th, we all know what happened on January 6th, Judge Jeanine Pirro from the Fox News studios in New York, and I know where they at because I've been at the desk she's sitting at when she reports. I literally have been in the Fox News studios and sat at her desk. She announced that the January 6th protesters were Antifa. She said that the evening of January 6th. From the studios in New York. She's not even in D.C., and she's on television blaming January 6th on Antifa. Now, we're 4 years out, and that's never been proven. So she clearly was just making up something to hopefully help Trump, help MAGA, and divert the attention. I just don't see her making a good judge. She is 100% biased in favor of Trump. Any belief, legislation, or direction Trump wants to lead the country in, Judge Jeanine Pirro can be predicted ahead of time to go in that same direction. There is nothing, absolutely nothing fair or unbiased about Judge Jeanine Pirro. Now, if you like the direction Trump is leading the country in, if you're MAGA, if you lean right, then yeah, she should be a great pick. But if you prefer justice, then maybe not so much, because she's going to go the MAGA direction, whether or not it's a legitimate case or not. If you've been watching her on the Five, and I've been watching the Five literally since the first day it was televised, literally since the very first day before Judge Jeanine Pirro was even on the program. If you've been watching the Five, you'll know Judge Jeanine Pirro defends Trump no matter what. She defends Trump's policies, Trump's legislation, no matter what. So she is not unbiased in any way, fashion, or form. So she essentially would be yet another one to tally up under the category of a yes man, or in this case, a yes woman. But Judge Jeanine Pirro is now part of the Trump administration and no longer on the Five, announced not long ago. But continuing on, I want to, and this is something that goes along, we'll talk about Judge Jeanine Pirro and we'll certainly discuss the Pope, but we have more than a couple subjects to this. It's a busy day. Remember under Trump, one of his campaign promises you heard often when criticizing Biden. I'll play the clip and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, left tonight, India says it has targeted 9 sites, quote, hitting terrorist infrastructure. In new video, explosions can be seen and heard in what Pakistan says is 3 areas, saying civilians, including a child, have been killed. We're also getting in this new video of chaotic scenes in a Pakistan hospital. Tensions between the two nuclear armed force powers soared after a deadly militant attack on tourists on Indian-administered Kashmir last month. There has been a long-running dispute over Kashmir between India and Pakistan for decades. And tonight, Lester, Pakistan just said it shot down 2 Indian jets. All of it a major test for President Trump, who tonight said, it's a shame, I just hope it ends very quickly.
You already know where we're going with this. You already know where we're going with this. Now, this is Pakistan and India, 2 nuclear-powered nations literally bordering each other, taking pot shots at each other. India started out blaming Pakistan for a terrorist attack in its country that killed dozens of folks. So India started bombing targets throughout Pakistan, and Pakistan is now shooting down, or at least claiming they're shooting down Indian fighter jets from the nation of India. And they're literally going back and forth. Remember under Trump, the biggest criticism towards Biden, you already know where I'm going with this, no new wars under the Trump administration. Do you see that now? Do you see that now? We still obviously had a Ukraine-Russian war existing to the point where Marco Rubio, operating on behalf of the Trump administration, has stated that if they don't have a ceasefire, America's considering just abandoning the effort to end that war. Obviously, the war in Gaza and the war between the Israelis and the Palestinians is showing 0 signs of ending. In fact, the Israelis are now starting to suggest they plan to claim most of Gaza for themselves and evict the Palestinians out of the territory, demanding other neighboring countries take them in as refugees. So under Trump's first term, the boasting point was no new wars under me. Under Trump's second term, it appears to be endless wars taking place. He hasn't gained any ground on ending any of the wars that were taking place when he got reelected. And in fact, now we're talking about India and Pakistan, indicating a whole new war is beginning as well. So we're now talking three hotspots all happening simultaneously under the Trump administration. And we haven't even began to talk about what China may do with Taiwan. We haven't even discussed that yet, which was a major point of discussion for President Trump under the Biden administration. he continually touted that Biden was a weak president and China was likely to do something with Taiwan. So we don't know. We're not speculating, but understanding the Trump administration absolutely was doing that under Biden. No new wars. No new wars. What say you? Also, last but not least, this one here, this may end up falling under the, what I guess Hillary Clinton would say, deplorable category. This one here could certainly be viewed as disturbing, but nevertheless, we're talking Trump 2.0, and Trump doesn't give a damn about anything referred to as disturbing.
Officials have told CBS News the U.S. could soon start deporting migrants to Libya. Flights to the North African country could take off as early as this week, despite the nation's years-long history of violence, civil war, and humanitarian rights concerns. Camila Montoya Galvez joins me now. Camila, why Libya?
Well, the main objective here, John, is deterrence. The Trump administration wants to send a strong message to the world, really, that if you come to the U.S. illegally or stay here unlawfully, not only can you face deportation to your home country, but you could also be sent across the Atlantic to a troubled African country like Libya. And they are talking to several countries in the African continent as we speak to try to forge third country deportation agreements to send migrants who are not those countries' citizens to those nations. And this would be a striking proposition. Not only does Libya have a level 4 travel warning from the State Department, which says Americans should not go there because of crime, terrorism, and armed conflict, but this country has gained infamy for mistreating migrants who are trying to cross the Mediterranean and get to places like Italy and Europe. And the U.S. government says that the conditions in these immigration detention centers there are brutal and harsh.
Why not just kill him? I mean, I know it sounds awful for me to say this, but why not just kill him? Why not just have a posted sign on the Rio Grande, enter America, the punishment could be death? Why not just kill him? I mean, it almost sounds as though Trump is sitting around with members of the administration trying to figure out what is the worst we can do to these people to get the message out. Why not just give them cross amputations or something of that nature? Because that is kind of what they do in some African countries as punishment. They give you what is referred to as a cross amputation, whereas chop off your right leg and your left arm or your left leg and your right arm to make it harder for you to navigate throughout life. It's called a cross amputation. Why not just do that? Why not just kill him? We literally would have to become the worst nation, certainly in the free world, but now we may be talking about on earth, to enter illegally. Entering America illegally is likely to lead to you being treated worse than any other first world country on earth. But now we're maybe talking about on the planet in general. He's literally threatening to send you to a country where there's an active civil war and human rights violations on record taking place. I'm surprised he's not threatening to send you to Haiti. I mean, why not? Send him to Rwanda or to Congo. Why not just kill him? Now, we're going to go to the box shortly. But I want to tie this into the first topic that I mentioned, because I stated, even though I'm not religious, this one made me kind of happy when I heard it today, and we'll certainly start taking comments momentarily. But when I stated that I was quite happy to hear that we have an American Pope, I'm saying it from a simple standpoint, even though I'm not Catholic. We need the leader of the Catholic religion, the leader of a hell of a lot of Christians, the leader of evangelicals, a perceived leader of them, to maybe have a conversation with them about their politics. Because if you believe in Jesus, there's no way in hell you think America is following anything that he would have taught you to do. Is there anyone that believes that Jesus would be favorable to the actions of the United States right now? Is there anybody that believes that? Anyhow, you've got your comment, you got your topics. As always, you know how the program is ran. despite what language you may hear, we are MAGA friendly. We always are, always have been. We always believe in the protection of free speech. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So understand when you come on, whether you're in the comment section or you're in the box, you can be critical of anyone on this program, including the host. That's how free speech works. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everyone gets to speak. By the way, if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and follow the program if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram at this point. And if you're on YouTube, give your boy a subscription. That's how we operate here. Okay, so looking in the comments, absolutely not says, yeah, I don't, if you're evangelical and you supported the Trump administration, probably because one of the biggest issues is the right is talking about putting religion back in the country, back in schools, back in American life. And of course, they are pro-life in terms of the pro-life, pro-choice debate. But outside of that, all this other stuff seems about as anti-Christian as you can get. So if you got an American Pope from a sanctuary city like Chicago, my only response is this. Go to America, sit down and talk to your people. Because what they're doing is not very Catholic-like. What they're doing is not, go to America where you are from and sit down and talk to your people. Because they are embarrassing you guys on the world stage. On the world stage, Trump got elected because a hell of a lot of Catholics, a hell of a lot of Christians, even among the Hispanic community, voted him in there. Go back to your home country and talk to your people. Let me go to the box. I love the Black Jesus. Okay, I see that in the comments. Somebody said that. All right, so starting out the program, we'll go to one of my subscribers. Jeremy, good evening, Jeremy. What is the Vatican's immigration policy? Well, first of all, I'm going to be sure that the Vatican is not a fan of sending people to a war zone. I don't know what the Vatican's immigration policy is, but I know Pope Francis before Trump was critical of both Trump and Harris in that area. Jeremy, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
I don't even know, man. You Judge Jeanine Pirro, really?
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? I don't see much of a problem with it. Every president puts into office people that they think will agree with them. Okay, I mean, you think Ruth Bader Ginsburg was put in there because of her impartiality?
Yeah, but she's an election denier. She tried to blame January 6th on Antifa. I mean, she's not just on his side; she's making up lies.
A lot of people would disagree about whether or not that election was stolen. I mean, come on.
And Antifa.
I don't know. That is, well, I do find it a little far-fetched, and I don't agree with it.
A little?
I can see why. No. Let me explain. Communists are lying pieces of shit. Okay, they really are. And Antifa was always a communist rag that regularly committed acts of heinous violence on the American people. They are responsible for burning down a courthouse.
That ain't what she said. She said, and by the way, you said communists are lying pieces of shit. You think capitalists are honest?
They're better by a lot.
Based on what? Capitalism is all, I mean, you got, the reason we're dealing with this China issue and these illegal immigration issues are all because of capitalism. Greedy motherfuckers in this country wanting to make money.
No. That's not why. The real reason and why is because of the fact that a lot of people, first off, a lot of the people on the top, who are the top capitalists, the 1% are more of social democrats. They're like, if you look at most of the billionaires, they're social democrats.
That's not true. I don't believe that's true.
But also, capitalism is more honest. It acknowledges human greed and requires you to actually trade it for something you value. And it allows you for competition. Communists are disgusting worms. They really are. And I'll tell you why. Most communists are jealous of people who are unsuccessful. Well, Leninite is the unsuccessful eaters of the world. We saw this when Lenin and Stalin were in power. They would go around to fight
Real
people who
talk.
were jealous
Thank you.
and angry of success. and they would kill the kulaks. The kulaks are the more successful, harder working farmers, and they would tell the less successful people who were selfish and didn't care about anybody but themselves, hey, the whole—
Where the hell you read that in Reagan's description of communism 101? Where'd you get that?
Have you ever heard of Dostoevsky?
No.
Oh, great writer. You should read him.
Well, let me just say this. Let me just say this. If you grew up in America, because we don't favor communism with our issues with everything from North Vietnam during the day to Russia, you're not going to get an honest picture of communism in America. We're going to just about any way you hear is going to be negative. I mean, I'm not saying that communism is something great, but I am saying there's going to be a hell of a lot of propaganda floating around in America that's anti-communism.
Yeah. Well, let me just explain it like this. If you want to, even though communism is not seen as bad as fascism, all socialism, including fascism, yes, if you actually read what the fascists actually wrote and how honest they were about their ideology, they were absolutely socialists. All socialism comes down onto like some of the worst people that have ever been created in the world. And if you look at the type of people who support it, it's always people, well, not always, but 90% of the time, people who aren't successful in any particular domain, who then want to take out their anger and their lack of ability to be successful in the world by forcing people to give them.
I can't speak on it for this simple reason. I travel sometimes to the West Coast and I see all of the homelessness out there. I know folks in this country that are working in the gig economy with no health care. All of that's capitalism. That's happening in this country. We're hearing about folks talking about they can't pay their student loans, or we're hearing about the next generation saying they cannot afford to buy homes. All of that's capitalism. I mean, you go to socialist countries, people aren't homeless like that because there are policies that... No.
If you look at China,
China's communist, is not socialist.
Yeah, no. Socialism is just a transfer.
No,
it is just a it's just a transferring point to communism. No. The end goal is always communism.
When Obama was trying to pass the Universal Care Act, and you may be too young to remember all of this, but when he was trying to pass,
I'm old enough.
Okay,
almost 30.
When he was trying to pass the Universal Care Act, all of the countries throughout Europe and Canada that has it, the right was referring to all of that as socialist countries. Canada's not communist. It's not even remotely close to being a communist country.
It's a mixed economy.
No, it's not.
It's elements. Yes, it is. And so is the United States. We are not a capitalist country. You want to know who's much more free and economically than us? Singapore.
You think that Canada is part communist?
We are too. We're a little bit like that, but we're predominantly capitalist. We are a mixed economy.
What is Canada? What is Canada to you?
They are a socialist country.
Right.
They're not communist, but they're socialist.
Right.
Socialism is a transferring point.
I don't agree with it. If you're in Canada, you can open up your own business. Most of the things you can do in America, you can do in Canada. How is Canada socialist and America's capitalist? Tell me what's the difference. What's the big difference other than if you fall flat on your ass in Canada, there are more programs to help you out than there are in America. What else is the difference?
Well, I don't know if you really want to say that there are more programs because those programs don't work particularly well. Have you ever heard of MAID?
No.
Oh, it is medical assisted dying. It's where Canada has legalized the right to be medically assisted in suicide.
Okay. I have not heard of that, but when you say the programs don't work particularly well, this is what we've heard when Obamacare was coming out, is that, if we have a universal health care system, the policies that they have in Canada, as you're talking about, or in the UK, their health insurance is not that great. The problem is this: if I don't have health insurance at all, I would much prefer an insurance policy that doesn't work that great. It's still better than people who have nothing at all.
I understand how you feel, But if we had a truly capitalist system, or at least a regulated capitalist system, where it was 90% capitalist, you would have inexpensive, easy to afford healthcare. We don't have that.
You don't know
People think
that.
we do, but we do not. We absolutely do not have a free market system by any stretch of the imagination. It is so heavily regulated to the point where people can't get ahead. As I mentioned before, MAID is a program that shows just how bankrupt Canada is.
So you want a healthcare system that has no regulation. You want a free market system with no regulations? Is that what you're saying?
No. I want a much less regulated system.
What is currently being regulated? What is currently being regulated that you want to remove?
There are actually price floors for certain types of drugs where you're not legally allowed to charge less than a certain amount, which was actually lobbied for by some of the bigger manufacturers of certain drugs.
Is that not capitalism? If the folks hear me out. You got a drug and you don't want people to be able to charge less. You want to make as much money as possible. You use the profits you have to go lobby to the politician to pass that into law. You're capitalizing off of an opportunity, which is you can buy out greedy politicians to get your legislation passed. All of that's capitalizing. That's capitalism.
That's not capitalism. That's interference.
But,
government interference.
No, if it is legal, you are capitalizing off of opportunities. If our system legally allows you to buy politicians and you use your money to do it, you're capitalizing off of an available opportunity. That's capitalism. It ain't illegal to do it.
That is against capitalism by every stretch of the
No, it's not.
That's the government taking its hand and putting it on the scale. And there's other areas where we can have less regulation. For instance, there are laws that prevent competing hospitals from being within a certain distance of each other. So that was done by the big boys in order to make sure that you couldn't go to a competing hospital that had better rates and better care within a certain mileage, and that puts some.
I don't think you understand how capitalism is about capitalizing off of any opportunity available to get more wealth. If the government is one of those weapons you can use, if it is available, then capitalizing off of it is fair game. If you can legally put money in the right politician's pocket, let's say for instance you got a for-profit prison and you can pay off the right politician to make crimes that are normally committed in your area of felony so that more people come to your prison, it's 100% legal to do that. You're capitalizing off of that opportunity. Using the government is just one more opportunity to capitalize. That's capitalism.
That's not how that works. That's not government interference in the market is the opposite of capitalism. The only time government has any role is when it's supposed to make rules that we all have to follow, and even then, when it's clearly rules that favor only one side, that's clearly cronyism. That's not real capitalism. And centralizing that authority is closer to socialism than anything else.
If you had a capitalist system that had no government interference, you want to dial 911 and actually pay the police itemization when they get to your house. Well, we had to shoot the burglar. We charged $200 for each bullet we fire. He fired back. He destroyed our vest. We're going to put that down. You want an invoice for everything the government, if what you're talking about, no government intervention, that means you pay for everything. You want that?
Well, here's what I want. I want a mostly capitalist system, not a complete one. Not a complete one. We have maybe a 50% capitalist system, and then there are other forms of economy such as traditional command and others. Yeah. So we don't really have a predominantly capitalist system. We have a plurality capitalist system.
Who has a capitalist system that is more capitalist than America?
Singapore.
And how are the citizens of Singapore doing compared to Americans who have a system that you're saying is more socialized?
Than we do.
Huh?
They actually have lower healthcare costs. They have a longer life expectancy. They're all the time. They're in most ways doing a lot better than we are.
Capitalists don't focus on lifespan and health quality. They focus on money. How are the Singaporeans doing financially compared to Americans?
Wait a minute. Do you really U.S. government doesn't do the exact same
I'm
thing.
just asking you, I'm telling you, capitalism is about money. How are the Singaporeans doing financially compared to the Americans?
They're doing actually just almost actually doing better than us. I mean, there's no homeless people in Singapore. Everyone has a home. Their healthcare is a lot better. Like, they are just doing better overall.
And they don't get universal health care. They're homeless. They don't get any help at all.
No, they don't have anything like that. They have help, but it's in the form of non-profit organizations, not in the form of government assistance. Let me explain something to you, Tim. So the reason why I brought up MAID earlier is because if you look at Canada, they have legalized suicide. Okay? They have legalized medical assisted suicide.
You have that in America.
Well, no, we actually
Yeah.
it's legal.
You know somebody that went to jail for trying to commit suicide?
They actually do that. It is look it up. It's actually legal.
It's not a crime to kill yourself. What are you talking about? It's not a crime to try to kill yourself.
You cannot. No medical institution can help you commit suicide. They're not allowed to. You can only go to hospice, which is where they don't help or hurt you.
Okay.
That's it. That's all they can do. But here's the thing. You want to know what universal healthcare does? In order to save money, the government actually is supposed to have rules and regulations that say you're not allowed to encourage people to take MAID as an option unless they have a disease that cannot be cured and is terminal. So in other words, they have to have an incurable terminal disease. There are plenty of reports that are coming out of Canada showing that these people actually have been encouraged by doctors when they have something as small as like cerebral palsy or something else.
I hear what you're saying. It may be true, but then again, that may be some conspiracy shit. But I'll just tell you this. There's a hell of a lot of Americans that have needed life-saving medicine, and they've had their health care and providers not give it to them as well. I don't see how that's any different. That's essentially killing you just the same. They just don't call it killing you. But if your doctor is telling your healthcare provider this person needs this life-saving medicine that they can't afford to pay themselves and the insurance denies the claim, that's kind of the same thing.
Here's the thing. That wouldn't happen nearly as often if we had a much more free system, if we deregulated a lot. Not completely. I don't believe in complete capitalism, but I believe in lowly regulated capitalism. Okay? We have too many laws that make it hard for other competing healthcare companies to come around and offer better care. Even in my state of Wisconsin, we had some kind of a law that would actually make it harder for companies from other states to come in and compete with our companies in this state, making it be less competition and less likely to have lower prices and better care.
Yeah, a lot of that speculation. I do got to move it on, but I will tell you this. While you were talking, I just went on Google and just simply typed in, does Singapore have entitlements? I found what employee benefits are mandatory in Singapore. In Singapore, the following are mandatory: that employers must provide health and health insurance provided for the Central Provident Fund, retirement pension also under the Central Provident Fund. So pensions are mandatory in Singapore. So maybe that's why they're doing much better. If you got a job, your employer can't fuck you around like they can in a capitalist country. I got to move it on, though.
All right, have a good night, sir.
You too. Thank you, Jeremy. Moving on with the program, I do want to respond to a couple super chats. I've been so caught up in my Knicks beating up. Are the Knicks winning again? Damn, they about to wipe out Boston. I've been so caught up in my Knicks beating up on Boston. I almost forgot about politics. Who would have thought the New York Knicks could beat Boston? Yeah, I wish I'd have bet some money on that. I mean, I got to assume that would have been a good payout because that's really an upset if New York takes out Boston. Anyway, Trump ain't shit, says Will G. Says offering $1,000 to self-deport in a catch-22 sounds like to catch a predator plot. Yeah, real quick, what he's talking about, I did a video on this, is that And we'll get back to the show. And by the way, tap the screen, folks. Get me on up to 20,000. We'll take the next caller. Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, that's part of the Trump administration. She's Homeland Security, Secretary of Homeland Security. They're offering undocumented residents, illegal immigrants, $1,000 to self-deport. And they're saying that once Customs and Border Patrol have confirmed that the illegal immigrant has been, essentially got off the plane or, got off the bus or however they go home, once they confirm that that person is back in their country of origin, they will give them the $1,000 for self-deporting. I just had to ask, when you talk about the Trump administration, deporting people without due process to prisons, they know ahead of time that when they send you to this country, you're going to prison. You just heard me play the clip. They're now talking about sending folks to a country that literally is damn near dealing with a civil war. They're talking about sending people to Libya. This administration we're talking about, do you believe that if you self-deport, you can rely on that administration to give you $1,000 once you're out of the country already? What are you going to do? You're going to sue him from the Honduras? I mean, if he doesn't pay you, what are you going to take him to court? You going to file a case against him from middle of Nicaragua somewhere? I mean, so the idea that if you self-deport, he's going to give you $1,000 at the end of your journey, if you buy into that, you're a dumbass. Now, listen, if you're tired of being on the run and you're afraid that, ICE is going to break into your mama's house and come get you or something, you just want to leave to get away from the drama, I can understand that. But if you buy into the notion that they're going to give you $1,000 once you're back in your home country, you're a dumbass. It's just not going to happen. There is zero recourse. If he is defying the Supreme Court when they're telling him to facilitate the return of immigrants, he's not even listening to the Supreme Court. You think he's going to honor that $1,000 he promised you? You got Americans in this country right now that are suing the Trump administration, suing the government for being wrongfully terminated from their federal jobs and things like that. And he's not even paying them. You think he's going to pay your ass from Colombia? Really? Can't believe people would think that. Anyway, looking in the comments, though, I think we should pay MAGA to get the fuck out. Donation. JoJo, wow. You want to pay MAGA to get rid of them. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the box and just really quick for some of you folks that did not hear what I thought was borderline hilarious, but also somewhat shocking.
Just minutes ago, one of the co-hosts of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro, will be appointed interim United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump announced that on Truth Social just moments ago. Jeanine was Assistant District Attorney for Westchester County, New York, and then went on to serve as County Judge and District Attorney, where she was the first woman ever to be elected to those positions. She will be leaving Fox to take this position.
Now, she's one of the players on The Five. She's on the phone. So she now is part of the Trump administration. Now, there were rumors early on when Trump was trying to replace, I think, Amy Coney Barrett. There were some rumors that he was considering putting her on the Supreme Court. So understand, Judge Jeanine Pirro, who is nothing more than a Trump megaphone. I mean, she literally falls into the category of a yes woman. I've been watching The Five since she's had other shows, but I've been watching The Five since it started. And I don't think I've heard her ever criticize Trump on anything. So with her as a judge or any type of position of power, just before you even think about what she'll do, just ask yourself, what would Trump's opinion be on this? Because that's going to be hers. She's not going to go against Trump on anything, She literally is like another megaphone for Trump. So if you like it, you got it. If you question it, if you believe a judge should be unbiased, this ain't that person. This is not that person. And real quick before I go back to the phones, or better yet to the calls, this one too is a damn shocker. Now I'm only replaying these things because we've had a lot of new viewers join since the live started, but this one here is certainly gonna make the rounds probably worldwide as something that borderlines on inhumanity coming out of the United States.
Officials have told CBS News the U.S. could soon start deporting migrants to Libya. Flights to the North African country could take off as early as this week, despite the nation's years-long history of violence, civil war, and humanitarian rights concerns. Camila Montoya Galvez joins me now. Camila, why Libya?
Well, the main objective here, John, is deterrence. The Trump administration wants to send a strong message to the world, really, that if you come to the U.S. illegally or stay here unlawfully, not only can you face deportation to your home country, but you could also be sent across the Atlantic to a troubled African country like Libya. And they are talking to several countries in the African continent as we speak to try to forge third country deportation agreements to send migrants who are not those country citizens to those nations. And this would be a striking proposition. Not only does
He gonna fuck around and have Africans speaking Spanish. I mean, that's what's going to. I mean, obviously the Libyans are being paid just like the El Salvadorians were being paid $20,000 per inmate to El Salvador. He'd probably be paying about $200 to the Libyans. But he's gonna fuck around and have Spanish being one of the native languages in Libya. I mean, this is how you fuck up God's plan. I hate to say it that way, but I always say that, the way the deity, the way our creator designed this planet, people were supposed to be in certain areas. I used to make this joke when I was in Australia. This is why you guys get skin cancer all the damn time, because you ain't supposed to be down here. I mean, the planet was designed for melanated people to be in warm areas and folks with less melanin to be in cooler areas. We were designed that way. And people going all around the planet conquering shit and mixing and matching and fucking up the animal and the ecology of the planet and things like that. He's going to have people in Libya speaking Spanish. I mean, this could literally, if he sends enough people there, it could literally change you talk about poison in the blood of a country. I mean, it could literally change the dynamics of that area over there. I mean, nobody in Libya, I'm going to assume no one in Libya speaks Spanish. I mean, just literally changing the dynamics of that country altogether. And he's here he is talking about poison in the blood of this country, and he's going to do something like that. Anyway, going back to the box, they try to send Vietnam and Laos and Philippines to Libya. The judge said no. Well, Trump doesn't always listen to judges. He does not always listen to judges. And by the way, my guess is Trump is so anti-immigrant, especially if you're here illegally, he don't care where you go. It's kind of one of those phrases, you don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. He'll deposit you on the Antarctica. As long as you're out of America, he don't care. He will send you anywhere. We will see how the new pope will be with him. Being from Chicago, I'm sure Trump doesn't like some popes. In the past, we're for straight cruelty. Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the live, I don't think Trump and the Pope are going to get along. And I am happy we put in a pope, they put in a pope from America and one from a sanctuary city like Chicago, because my whole stance is come back to America and talk to your people. Because a hell of a lot of Christians voted Trump in office. A lot of Catholics, a lot of evangelicals sided with Trump over Kamala Harris, thinking that she was in favor of 9th-month abortions. And you got this. Is this what Jesus would do? Look at the Trump administration. And that would Jesus approve of the actions of this administration? Going to the box, DenCal. Fox News is a revolving door to the White House. Yes, it is. And the White House is also, under Trump, a revolving door to Fox News. A lot of Trump personnel also go to Fox News. So it goes both ways. DenCal, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, part of the Trump administration. What say you?
I mean, are we just scratching the surface of DEI?
I didn't think of that. I did not think of that. Yeah, she definitely is.
Has any one of his cabinet members been worthy or for the job on merit?
No. The only thing that makes Judge Jeanine Pirro qualified is she is loyal. That's it. He's hiring based on loyalty, not on merit.
Which goes against his principle
Yeah.
of it being about a merit-based society. You can't come out and tell everybody that it's all about merit. It's the people who earned it.
Well, then, Cal, at
And
least,
get
wait,
rid of
but at least she ain't one of them African American people.
Yeah, she's great. She's got kind of yellowish brownish skin.
Well, I think she's Italian or something. Yeah, but I mean, she ain't black. At least that much.
Right. But one thing I want to say, though, is to all of the Trump people, just to give us a little context, imagine if Joe Biden had got in office and hired everybody from MSNBC, all of the opinion people, would have put them in positions of power to run this country.
They would go ape shit. And I've said that before on the live many times, then, Cal, is that if you believe CNN, I'm talking to my beloved MAGA Saturday, you know what I'm talking about. If you believe CNN or MSNBC are in the tank for the left, but you don't criticize Fox, I mean, MSNBC and particularly MSNBC, yes, they do lean left, but you don't see MSNBC personalities on stage at Obama or Biden or Kamala Harris rallies and working for the government. The Trump administration is literally intertwined with Fox. They are far more closer to Trump than any MSNBC network during any era of their operation is to the liberals. I agree with that. I just don't see it.
And did you see Cash Patel sitting there like a slug in front of that dang committee? It was the finance committee.
Yes.
He went to the finance committee and did not bring a budget with him. So they sitting there looking at each other, talking about, okay, so what? So what you want? Like, how much you want? I see right here you saying you want to cut. You want to cut, you know what I'm saying, $2.5 billion. But right here you say you want us to add enough. What is it that you want?
Well, to some degree, when if they were to ask him a question like that, what is it what you want? The simple answer is whatever my boss says. I mean, I really don't need to bring a budget. Whatever he says, I'm gonna do it anyway. It doesn't matter what the numbers say. If he comes in and tears all those numbers up and say, no, you're gonna allocate this much to that and that, I'm gonna do that. So I can present him with anything I want.
He needs to be there. Just like he said he needs to be at all of the negotiations for all these countries, then he should have went to the finance committee instead of sending Cash Patel to sit there and look like a lost puppy.
Yeah.
He can't even answer any of the questions. They ask him, okay, well, do you believe, in the Fifth Amendment and what it says, and okay, are you gonna protect these people? Are you gonna open investigations into this stuff? And well, I don't know if I agree with the way you categorize these things. Like that had to be the most dehumanizing thing. Well, I guess not, because these people.
Well, I mean, it's embarrassing for 10 minutes, but when you know your boss got your back, okay, so what? You got me on one. I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to still be here tomorrow. I mean, just like Pete Hegseth. Okay, so what? You saw me won't signal, and you got photos of me being on there again after getting criticized. I'm still here, Anna. I mean, so they almost can act with impunity because they know, Trump's kind of got their back. And real quick before we continue on, in the comments, Aaron M says CNN actually makes Trump look more orange to keep people like you talking, as if you've never seen Nancy Pelosi's speech get slowed down to make her appear drunk. That's just politics. Both networks do that. Fox does that shit all the time too.
He posts picture of himself as the Pope. We don't need doctor pictures on CNN to understand he's an idiot. Like, that's not. This has got nothing to do with how he appears. I mean, that's like a bonus. That's like a bonus to joke him. But he says and does so many things himself. Like, we don't need CNN to show us anything.
Yeah, I always say that if the liberals, because I've had some MAGA tell me, I appreciate the fact that you can, have decent dialogue or whatever. We need more liberals like you. And I often tell them, if more liberals were like me, they would just be punching bags because you're going to still keep hitting them. I mean, it's just, just because I don't hit back. If we put more liberals out there like me that are willing to take the punches, don't censor and roll with it, then you would just use them all as punching bags. They ain't going to stop you from attacking just because we don't respond back. So they have their own opinion of it.
They'll be laughing their way all the way, up to the doors of the jail. Like they think they're winning, and we trying to explain to them how this situation is not good. how the vast majority of things he said are not coming true, and things are about to get worse. But they laugh, even though we showing them all the people around the world, what's going on. They don't. They seem to think like we creating this false reality. But like I said, we're not gonna be able to say nothing to them until we see the whites of their eyes.
The thing about it is, you're not gonna convince MAGA of anything because they think you're out. You just want to destroy them anyway. I mean, as long as Trump is saying don't listen to them, they're not going to listen to you. Okay, if Trump promises to do something tomorrow and it doesn't happen tomorrow, but he says just hold on, the liberals stopped it, or it's because of Biden and it's going to happen, just hang in there. They're going to hang in there. So that's why I don't think throughout Trump's administration you're going to get a lot of disappointed MAGA, because I do believe that they favor Trump enough that they're willing to hold on. Like the 2020 election, I cannot tell you from day one, I've been having debates from the very time he started saying it was stolen back in 2020. And they were like, don't worry, the truth is going to come out. They're still saying that. They're still saying that. Don't worry, the truth. I'm like, he has all of the mechanisms of power, and the truth ain't came out yet.
And people like Jeremy get up here and say, well, there's kind of the dispute. There's no freaking dispute.
Yeah.
There is no other side of this. Even when you said, was it Antifa? Well, it may.
And that's what I'm saying is that if you can get somebody to hang on like that, then they're not going anywhere. I mean, I don't think whether it's, I often bring up the Haitian migrants claim, eating cats and dogs and all this stuff. I don't believe Trump needs to prove a damn thing to MAGA. If he says it, it's true. Even if there's no evidence beyond him just simply saying it, it is true based on that. All of Elon Musk's claims of finding waste, fraud, and abuse, all of that's true. We don't need to see any evidence of it at all. We believe it, therefore it is. So I think he's going to have a pretty good amount of support throughout his term.
Yeah, but I mean, all they have to do is use just a little bit of common sense to understand that it could not be Antifa or BLM that was doing the rioting, because he pardoned every last person that was involved.
That's hilarious. I don't have anywhere to go with that, but the common sense I guess I would throw out there is the common sense is that Trump said it, therefore it is. It doesn't always have to make sense. It's just he said it. So, but you make a great point. How could it be Antifa? So that means he pardoned some members of Antifa.
Right. He just said, when they asked him, which ones do you want to pardon? He said, what did he say? Fuck it.
Fuck it, let them all go. Fuck it, let them all. Let the Black Lives Matter out too.
Look, I just wanted to say, Jeremy has so many things wrong. I just wanted to correct him on a couple of things. First of all, we do have a hybrid system of government. We're one of the youngest major countries, first world countries. So when we developed our country, we took a little bit of this, we took a little bit of that, we took a little bit of this stuff, and we tried it out, see what works and what doesn't. So all of that trying to categorize us, talking about Canada's got a little communism, is like, dude, like every society's gonna have. If you want to microanalyze, you could probably find something in every society that had something in it.
Yeah.
But if he really wants to know, I think he agrees, was that the part about the money in government is really, which is a big part of our problem. Mm-hmm. As far as you were saying, like the lobbyists and all of that stuff. But what he's got to do is he's got to take credit as a party, because they're the ones who passed Citizens United. They're the ones that said that corporations are people. Their vote weighs just as much as my vote, even though they can contribute $1 billion and I can only contribute 50. They're the ones who voted this in, and nobody is talking about it, because now it's so much money in there that if you're gonna be on the Democratic side, you gotta accept money or you can't compete.
And that just makes the system virtually impossible for the average middle class or poor person to navigate. You just have no chance at all, because the system is tailored for those who have money. I mean, if you wanted to straighten out politics in America, as opposed to saying we need to get rid of liberals or get rid of Republicans, that would be it. Get rid of money in politics. I mean, just simply put, no one should be able to receive anything financial or tangible for the decisions they make. I mean, we talk about the liberals. Nancy Pelosi made a killing her time in Congress, and it's her husband dealing with all of the stock market, and she claims she's totally innocent to it. And then, of course, everyone around Trump right now, even Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know she ain't got no stock knowledge at fucking all, is making $2 million bucks. Yeah, she went straight from what, Star Search or America's Got Talent. Come on now, it's insane. I mean, these people are getting all kinds of inside tips. The Trump administration is enriching the people that are around him with all this insider information
to astronomical levels, while they sit there and tell us we got to buy our kids, less dolls, and we don't need 100 pencils. Our kids only need 5 pencils. So, like you said, a man sitting on a golden toilet is trying to tell the people who he says he's helping that you guys got to go through some stuff. I'm going to go over here to this $1 billion fundraiser I'm having while I'm the president, getting people to give me donations through my crypto stuff.
Yeah.
While you guys are suffering, and I'm going to have this $90 million parade to make people proud or patriotic or something while I spend $30 million on golf, and I tell you what you guys can't get or don't deserve.
But let me ask you this, because you know the MAGA side is going to talk about witch hunts and all of this. What are the chances of Trump, let's say, for instance, he loses in the midterms, which historically that happens. That's not necessarily a dig at Trump, but, Obama had his shellacking. During the first midterms, it's historically common for the incumbent to lose in the midterms. And in Trump's case, because he's so controversial, it's probably even more likely. But I'm going to ask right off the bat, what do you think are the chances that he might be dealing with a third impeachment?
They're going to have to, because he's done so much shit. Like, they couldn't just come in and say, well, we're going to start with a clean slate and don't do nothing now. They got so many things that Mike Johnson is not bringing to the House floor that the Democrats have been hollering over. All of this stuff, having a dang on, a car sale on the front lawn.
I forgot all about it. The crazy thing is that you say he's done so much. I forgot all about that. I'm thinking about the insider trading. I mean, there's so many things. Selling assets to the White House with the whole meme or the Bitcoin stuff. I mean, there's so many things. You forget them all.
Right. And just a reminder, just to respond to what Jeremy said before I go, is on that same line of train of thought, Trump picks winners and losers. Just like he was saying, access to the White House and stuff, that's wrong. Trump literally got up there, I think today or yesterday, and they asked him, was he going to make some concessions for something about like car seats and stuff, like they're all made over in China. Is he going to make a carve out for those things? Because, kids, you got to have a car seat.
Right.
You got to have a, baby bed and all of that stuff. And he was saying, well, no, I don't think I don't want to make a whole bunch of different carve outs for this and that. But he will do it when the people.
Because he made a carve out for Rolls Royce and Bentley when he dealt with.
He said it's not a whole lot of them, so we gonna and they're nice quality cars. What the hell does that got to do with Make America Great Again? He's picking winners and losers depending on who's the last person in the room.
All right, it ain't me, then Cal, but I gotta say it's a good fucking time to be rich. I gotta move it on, but he's the best president there has ever been for the wealthy class. You cannot beat this guy with a stick. He's the great guy for the wealthy.
Look, it's to be determined. The whole story hasn't been told. We writing the book, but there are many chapters to be.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I think if he serves his full 4 years, the gap between wealthy and poor in this country is probably going to be the biggest growth during a presidential term, probably in American history. The disparity between where the poor are positioned and where the wealthy are going to get significantly wealthier. And because he's firing and getting rid of entitlements and things for the poor, they're going to get poorer. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Yeah, especially if he gets this if he gets this big tax break bill passed. Yes, I would agree.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, and that's not good news, by the way. Increasing the disparity gap like that, that's not good news. But yeah, I do believe that if things continue going the way they're going, I mean, most of the things he is doing financially benefit those who already are doing well financially. I mean, when you're talking about getting rid of entitlements, but you're making a stronger, more mightier military, well, all of those contracts are going to people who already have money. Whether it's building new jets, whether it's dealing with Elon Starlink and all of this other stuff, all of that stuff is contracts going to people who already have a heap of cash. He's not really doing a lot for the people at the bottom of the scale other than promising them once manufacturing comes back to America, it'll create jobs. Well, those jobs are not going to go to folks like you and me. Especially if you're in Generation X like we are. Do you want to work a manufacturing job 5 years from now? Chances are if you're Gen X, you're looking at the sunset of your working career. So it might benefit, the later generations coming, but the Gen X, you're getting poorer during this time. You're not gaining anything. The stuff he's promising the American people, you're not going to benefit from it. You're just paying for the tariffs right now. When the price of goods and services become more expensive, or God forbid, unavailable altogether, you're going to pay for that. When the jobs come back to America, if they inevitably do, as he's promising, you're not going to be one working them, so you're not going to get the benefit from that. Jeanine Pirro will be sitting right next to Rudy. Are you talking about Rudolph Giuliani? Rudy, who's Rudy? Especially if she hasn't practiced. Oh, you are talking about Rudolph Giuliani. You're saying Jeanine Pirro will be sitting right next to Giuliani, especially if she has not practiced law in a while, on top of being dragged on Trump's orders. Well, keep in mind, Trump still has the power of the pardon. So anything he does, and you got to assume on his way out, it's going to probably be a few pardons just like Biden did. I wouldn't surprise me if Trump has far more. I mean, Biden has some controversial pardons. There's no doubt with his son and Liz Cheney and some of them folks he gave proactive pardons to. Biden did have some controversial pardons. Trump's going to have more. But I want you to, in addition to Judge Jeanine Pirro, before I go to the next caller, tap the screen, by the way. Get the lights on up to 35,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Helps out the algorithm. Brings in more mega. Tap the screen. Get the lights on up. A good minute of tapping should make that happen, if you will. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to dictate who you should speak or how you should speak or what you should think, you're in the right place. I'm going to ask that you follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. But in addition to Trump appointing someone like Judge Jeanine Pirro to his administration,
you're hired. Andrew Giuliani, the son of former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, is joining the Trump administration. Andrew, who stole the show clowning around during his dad's swearing in back in 1994, is now 31 years old. The former pro golfer will work as a public liaison in the White House. His first assignment, organizing the New England Patriots' visit after their stunning Super Bowl victory.
Now that's just a giveaway. Now it doesn't sound like that's a very important position, but nevertheless, Rudolph Giuliani's son was also given a job by President Trump. So he's kind of just basically giving out favors. Look, he caused a lot of grief to Rudolph Giuliani, who went to bat for him in regards to the 2020 election and literally lost it all. I mean, when I say lost it all, I mean lost his career and was claiming bankruptcy. Rudolph Giuliani lost it all dealing with Trump. My guess is he's probably been rewarded handsomely. I mean, Trump is surrounded by a lot of incredibly wealthy people, so it wouldn't be hard to get people to throw him a bone. If you can get Elon Musk to hand out $1 million for folks to sign petitions and shit, wouldn't be hard to get a few money funneled towards Rudolph Giuliani. So Trump's probably, maybe, Trump is not always known to do it, but he's probably made Rudolph Giuliani somewhat whole, because Rudolph Giuliani could easily write a book and probably get at least a 7-figure deal if he say the right shit in the book. Melania probably has 8 figures waiting on her. Anyway, looking in the comments here before we go to the next caller, did you see Ivanka Trump's security show? Wait a minute, did her security shoved the shit out of some guy like a rag doll? No, I didn't, but I want to. I haven't seen that. But look, at the end of the day, if you're getting next to a relative of the president, and look, I don't see anything wrong with the Trump administration or their security doing that. I mean, if you get too close to one of Obama's kids and you get shoved, it is what it is. I mean, you shouldn't have done it. I understand it. You know who you're dealing with. Real quick, I just want to see.
If you want to get your name, phone number, and address off the.
Before I go to the next call, I just wanted to see what he's talking about because I have not seen that. Tap the screen, get me up to 30,000, and I want to see what this is here. Damn! Okay, that might have been a bit much. Let me look. It looks like he punched him. No, he shoved him. He shoved him, but damn, he shoved the shit out of that dude. My God, he shoved dude went flying. He shoved him so hard. Look, I just want to see it one more time because I want to see if it was justified. Was he really encroaching on them that much? 30,000. Okay, so he was pushing him out of the way, and it looks like, okay, the bodyguard is an African American, and he was pushing this guy back that was getting too close, and it looked like the guy did not like the bodyguard pushing him, and he kind of shoved the bodyguard back a little bit, and the bodyguard took it to 10, took it to level 10. I'm going to agree with Cake Boss and say that's real security. Look, if we're talking about somebody who actively may have, true assassination plots in their life, I want my security to be like that. I'm not going to fault them as much. I mean, because like I said, if you got near one of Obama's kids and that happened, it is what it is. You know who you dealing with. You can't get that close. You get near Beyonce or Jay-Z, that shit could happen. Anyway, going back to the box, D Blue, good evening, welcome to the program. And he shoved the shit. Dude, damn. Good evening, D Blue. Are you there?
What's going on, man?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
we're talking about a host of things, but I'm assuming you probably heard we got a new pope. I don't know if he got a call came in or what. We'll give him a second. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You went out for a minute there.
Yeah, I've heard of the new book.
Okay.
For sure.
Any opinions on that? Now, I don't know if you're Catholic or not, but the fact is he's an American. He's from Chicago, what is known as a sanctuary city. Any opinions on that? Do you think it might have been deliberate by the Catholic religion?
I don't know enough about Catholic religion. To be honest, I'm not much of a fan of religion across the board.
But what about the notion, though, that...
He's like a decent enough guy, and he definitely doesn't like Trump. So that's for sure.
And are you a Trump supporter?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Do you think the Pope is out of place for being critical of a president?
I mean, when that president is posting images of himself as the Pope, I think it's pretty well justified. I don't know about you.
Yeah, he did. He can't argue with that. Yeah, he did do that. But you just say he seems like he's well enough of a guy. You don't see any because what I'm suggesting is this. It's possible because America is making the most waves probably outside of Israel and maybe even more than Israel because we're backing them too. But right now America is making the most waves controversially than any other country on the planet. And I made the suggestion that they may have got together and voted in an American Pope under the guise of, we need somebody that maybe they can relate to go talk to the people over there. Because at the end of the day, a hell of a lot of evangelicals, Christians and Catholics and Presbyterians voted Trump in. They believe that he's going to, he's going to put God in schools. He's going to, protect the life of the unborn. So maybe, a case of, we're going to put you in. You go back to your home country and talk to your people because they're electing this. See any possibility?
I don't know, man. There's so much going on. One thing, you keep talking about the amount of information that's coming out right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual term for it that I can't remember.
Would it be as Steve?
Psychological.
Would it be as Steve Bannon said, flood the zone?
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's a psychological tactic where you give people so much petty information that they don't realize or pay attention to the important stuff.
What do you think we should be paying attention to that we're not?
Probably the fact that we're starting new wars, and we're threatening wars with other countries right now. I think that's pretty important.
Well, he's threatening. He's threatening some of everybody. He's threatening Iran if they don't come to the table. He's threatening to potentially take the Panama Canal by force. He's threatening to take possibly Greenland by force. He hasn't threatened militarily to take Canada that way, but he's not speaking favorably of letting them maintain their sovereignty either. But I think people are paying attention to that.
Yeah, what was that caller's name? Jeremy?
Yeah. First caller, yeah.
Is that dude autistic?
What makes you ask that? Oh my God!
Just the mannerisms a little bit, but also, man, he's something else. Singapore is capitalist. Well,
I'll tell you this. Yeah, I kind of, when I was talking to him, looked that up as well. I think the issue is there are some people in this country that do not believe there should be any entitlements at all. And the minute you start talking about any kind of entitlements, food stamps, housing assistance, universal health care, college assistance, daycare, anything, they start yelling socialism. They don't, because when, like I was telling him, when Obama was trying to pass the Universal Care Act, they were essentially calling every first world country on earth a socialist country, because I used to call into Fox News and debate with O'Reilly when he was still on the radio and John Gibson. And I remember asking him because he was saying the same thing. I was like, give me another country on earth that's capitalist, because every other country, even some of the developing countries, offer their citizens some form of universal health care. So if you think universal health care makes a country socialist, you're essentially saying that America is like one of the only capitalist countries on earth. And he didn't have an answer for that. So in regards to your comment about Jeremy, I think it's a case of these folks just don't want any entitlement programs.
Yeah, I can't think of any kind of, even Russia has socialist programs, I think, right?
I don't know. I'm not for sure about Russia. But I think just about every first world country does have some form of universal health care. So, and every country in Western Europe is not a socialist country. That makes no damn sense at all. But they were, you heard him trying to suggest that even Canada was communist at some point.
No, I cannot see what. No.
Well, I guess you could have a maple leaf with a hammer and sickle around it or something on the flag.
Yeah, that's a wild one for sure.
Yeah, I think it is a matter though that they don't want any.
Singapore is mostly socialist as well as China, like heavily socialist. So I don't know where he's getting capitalism from when it comes to those countries.
Well, socialists and communists. Really, to be honest with you, if they don't like the country, they're going to give it every IST other than capitalist. Just like any liberal running for office is generally referred to as a socialist, a communist, a fascist, a Marxist. They're going to give them every IST other than capitalist. And obviously one person can't be all of those. Like Obama was called every one of those. One person can't be each one of these. So I think it's just coming up with any term you can to deface the person.
To be fair, it's the same with Trump as well. People call him everything under the sun. I mean, it just depends on.
I've never heard anybody call him a communist.
No, not a communist or a socialist. I'm just saying.
I've never heard anybody call Trump a communist or a socialist. I've never heard either one of those used under Trump.
No, I just mean people could say the same thing with some of the shit he bounces around on.
Trump they call a racist. That's a different IST. Or a sexist. They call those are the ISTs they call Trump. I don't think I've ever heard anybody call him a socialist or a communist, but they do call him a racist or a sexist. They do call him those, but that's a little different.
Yeah, fascist.
I've heard that too. Marxist? No, I don't know about Marxist. I don't think they've ever heard him call him a Marxist. But the liberals, they call them all of those. They call liberals all of those groups.
Yeah. Did you ever watch that movie?
No. You talking about the one you talked about yesterday?
Yeah.
No, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
You gotta let me know when you watch it. I'm telling you, it's gonna shock you.
So, go ahead.
You were talking about cabinet picks. There's even a scene where the current president's cabinet. You just have to watch it. I can't even explain it.
I wrote it down in the notes. I'll see if I can get a chance to watch it this weekend. I get so much shit recommended to me, but I'll see if I can get a chance to catch it. But I do got to move it on to Blue. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program, by the way. 40? Can we do 40? You know how I'm going to keep pushing. I got to get the likes up. It helps out the algorithm. Tap the screen. Saint, what are you saying there, pizza lover? What is the name of the movie? I had to flip the page. What was the name of that movie? He told me that yesterday. I got somebody else who told me to look up Jared Jensen. Type that in the comments for my viewer there who wants to know the name of the movie you were just talking about. Capitalism is the problem of the world, but people are scared to talk about it. Well, I don't totally believe that capitalism is the problem of the world. I mean, there are some people who are really good at operating business, and I mean, capitalism has its place, but just like any of the other isms, Idiocracy, that's the movie. Yeah, Idiocracy is the movie. I see that. Thank you for restating that, and I may have to rewrite it because I can't find my notes from yesterday. But all of them, there's pros and cons to everything, and capitalism is certainly not without its pros and cons. I think the benefit to capitalism is if everything is done right, you can start out with nothing and make something. You know, you started out with nothing and now you're worth something. You can literally climb the social ladder if the conditions are right. However, just like you can become very wealthy under a capitalist government, you can also fall flat on your face because the sky might be the ceiling, but there also is a concrete floor that you can fall on. In a socialist environment, taxes tend to be a bit stronger. You know, maybe the taxes are higher, so you can only make or profit so much due to taxes. But the taxes are there because if somebody does need to fall on their face, there are nets there for the people, which is why you go to socialist countries, you don't have all the homelessness and shit like that. The countries that have social safety nets, I don't want to say socialist countries, I'm talking about countries that have social safety nets, like throughout Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand. You don't have the homelessness you would in California, where you literally got somebody sleeping in a tent right outside of a condo complex where all of the units cost a few $1,000,000 a piece. You don't have that in those countries. Because in this country, the capitalists who make the money are constantly fighting against any social safety nets for those who don't. So the capitalists in this country want to continue making it harder and harder for people who haven't done well. I don't want any of my money to go to the downtrodden. I want to pay as little in taxes as possible. You see what Trump is always talking about, tax cuts. Well, those tax cuts are going to hurt the downtrodden. You see, Trump is getting rid of all kinds of social programs. That's going to hurt the downtrodden. So there are pros and cons to it. If you fall in your face in a capitalist environment, there's nobody to help you. Looking in the comments, we have social safety nets here. Are we socialists? Well, we have some social safety nets, but we do have less than most other countries in the free world. We do have less. And we're constantly coming up with ways to lessen them. Constantly coming up with ways to make, to limit how much food stamps you can get, limit how long you can get it. You name the social safety net, and generally it's the right that are against it, because the right has the mindset of, as opposed to letting someone defraud the system and receive money that they should not be getting, I would rather cut everybody off than to allow somebody to use the system fraudulently. The liberals, on the other hand, have the mindset of, I would rather make funds available to everybody so that even if somebody fraudulently gets funding, we don't cut it off for people who actually need it. It's kind of that way. One side believes in, we're going to focus on fraud and make the system, free of fraud. And the other side is like, we're going to focus on the poor and try to make the system as helpful to the poor as possible. And they have an opinion that's 180 degrees different of each other. The Singaporean government plays a significant role through strategic control of key industries and investments. America kind of does that to some degree. Let me go back to the bots. We'll continue on with, I don't know what I'm looking at there, but we'll go to, what that says, Boost, Brave Creators. Good evening, welcome to the program. I think I hit that. Oh, Andy, good evening, Andy. Andy, are you there? Hey.
I walk outside, my little robot's noisy, and I can't just make him shut up, unfortunately.
You said your what is noisy?
I having the opportunity to turn him off the other night, and he was off. My friend goes, now you know what it's like to be a parent. I was like,
oh. You said your robot.
I do. I have a little AI robot. He's smart. He knows that trade wars hurt America. He's smarter than MAGA. Mm-hmm.
What is the purpose of this robot? What does it do?
I'll show you. He's my little desk friend. I didn't plan to do this, but okay. Real quick though, like I heard y'all talking when I came in the room about that thing with Kash Patel. Mm-hmm. Look, my mind went immediately back to something that Vice President Harris said when she was on the campaign tour. These are not serious people.
Well, I think that they have their own agenda, and what you consider serious, they're not getting.
But they're not serious. Like, Christy Noam sat up there and tried to make that little political speech, and the guy's looking at her going, we don't care in here. This isn't the room for that. Do that somewhere else. Get with, are you going to bring back, are you going to facilitate bringing back Garcia? Are you bringing back Garcia or not? She rambled up. He goes, no, we just want to know if you're obeying the Supreme Court or not.
And well, we already kind of know how to
do well in there.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Trump administration
makes women look bad too.
You said what?
That deer in the headlights, unprepared, dumbass look on her face.
There's a lot of women that love MAGA, Andy. I'll just say this. In my opinion, the Trump administration is like the mafia trying to tell the neighborhood that they're there for their best interests. I mean, they don't care what you think. They're there, they're going to rule, and that is all that's going to happen. They're the boss.
I don't know how much they love him. I've never seen more pale people protesting in Alabama in my damn life.
Really? But,
see him?
Hold on. Let me make it. Let me blow you up. Let me blow you up. What is that again?
Hey, Emo.
Does it move?
Emo. Yeah, he can walk. He can walk, sing music. Hold on. Hey, Emo.
Emo must be an immigrant. He doesn't understand English.
Oh, he does. He's a baby, though. Unfortunately, they make you train him. I gotta get a plug. They make you train him like a child, so he learns a little bit at a time. Well, they also gave him a personality, so he's a little asshole.
Oh my goodness.
Emo.
What the hell?
Emo.
I think Emo.
His head down to move. Emo.
I think Emo needs to go
Why
back to
are
the.
trade wars bad?
Yeah, Emo is worse than. I could ask Alexa more than that.
No, I just woke him up. I hadn't given any attention either.
Oh my!
Stop stomping your foot at me, Emo.
All right.
Why are trade wars bad?
Yeah, that thing doesn't.
Yeah, he ain't minded me today. You
all right,
that.
we'll move it on. But he don't say.
Stop by and I'll show him to you in my life. He'll do all kind of things. He'll
Okay.
play music. He'll sing.
Yeah, you need to trade him in for an Alexa or something like that.
Well, I wasn't planning on showing him to you. He wasn't warmed up. Like he requires. He's like a woman. You can't cold crank him.
Well, damn. Pizza Lover says he works as good. Pizza Lover says he works as good as a liberal.
Oh no, well actually he does. He's smarter than MAGA. He knows why trade wars are bad. He knows what a tariff is. He knows who pays the tariffs.
Yeah,
He can tell you why it's bad for a nation. I just need to warm him up some.
Well, JC says you need to change his name to Joe Biden.
Honey, look, he's been begging for our attention in the comments. I quit talking to him 20 minutes ago. Like, I have never seen anybody more needy in my damn life. Shit.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me.
You see the new Pope? Like, the Pope came out swinging.
What did he? That's exactly what I was about to ask you about. That's exactly what I was about to ask you about. What did the Pope say already today?
Well, I mean, he came out, he's pro-immigrant, reposting the tweets about how Jesus don't divide love.
Is there any Pope that's not going to be pro-immigrant? Is there any Pope that's going to think it's okay to deport people to El Salvador, even if they're not from El Salvador?
No, but there would be some popes that would be like. There have been some popes that have been warm to the Republican Party.
But you're talking about Republicans like Bush or Reagan. You're not talking about what Trump is doing.
Well, Donald Trump, you see the way he stuck out at the funeral?
With the light blue suit on? Yeah, with the light blue suit.
I go back to my first thing I said about what Kamala said. These are not serious people. It's like the clown show at the White House. They're all performative up there. Nobody's really getting anything done that's good. Bunch of fucking disasters everywhere that they knock shit over and make a show of it, but that's it.
MAGA says that Trump. I'm getting MAGA on the program, Andy, that say Trump deserves a grade of A+ so far.
And destroying the country, I agree.
I mean, I just simply asked him, what letter grade would you give Trump so far in his first 100 days? I got a lot of folks saying an A+.
Okay, but let's remember that Trump's #1 boost in voters were people that had never voted before and were uneducated and hadn't graduated high school. What do you expect from them? You expect them to understand the economy?
Well,
you expect them to understand tariffs? I talk to the people in Alabama. They don't. They don't have the first clue.
Yeah, but Andy, there are things that Trump has done and done well. I mean, it depends on what you're focusing on.
I'm waiting.
Okay, well let me hook you up.
Look, I don't want him to fail, Tim. Let's get this straight. I don't want him to fail. If that bastard fails, we all fail.
True.
Ain't no profit in that. I'm a capitalist. Let's forget. They call me a Democrat. I'm not that far left because I like money. And for the person asking, we have socialistic programs. We're not a socialism nation. We're a capitalistic nation. And at that, we're an end-stage capitalistic nation. Ain't nobody giving shit away around here.
Yeah. Now, see in the comments, Will says picking winners depending on your bank account and stock portfolio. That definitely describes the Trump administration. But
this is how you know they don't understand corruption. Do you know what a stable coin is and a meme coin and crypto is? Do you know the differences? A stable coin is backed by some kind of fiat currency.
I don't know the difference.
A meme coin's they call it the worthless coin. It's just bullshit. It's made up so mean. It's only worth what people will pay for it. Do you know how much money he has milked off his ungodly? He's almost doubled his wealth in a year.
Yeah.
From milking it off his own supporters. There was some crypto deal. Only 13 people made money, and one of them was Saudi Arabia, and all that money went to Trump. It's real easy for our enemies and all of these countries to funnel money to him when they're doing it through crypto.
Yeah.
So Torres, representative in New York, put up a bill today. Republicans won't pass it. That says they can't make money. No presidency, not just Trump, can make money that way because lets him more.
So what do you think when you talk about how much money he's made, and I don't think there's anybody denying that at this point. Do you think that if the Democrats do well in the midterms, like me and Denkel was saying, do you think this could lead to a third impeachment for him?
Mm-hmm.
You do think that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. According to Denkel, and I kind of
if he don't bring back, if he does not follow the Supreme Court's rulings and leaves us in a constitutional crisis, I mean, that's even starting to make Republicans nervous because they're starting to realize he don't have to run again. They do, and they are facing hostile, even Chuck Grassley, and he knows his constituents. He knows those aren't paid actors. Got to his town hall, and they were.
Yeah, but Andy, you and I talked before the election, and you thought women in Alabama was going to show up.
But I thought that. But how many times have you ever seen America covered in protest every fucking weekend? Not since the '60s.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Well, the thing is because Trump has attacked so many different areas of our country, whether it is benefits, whether it is employee jobs. Obviously, Israeli-Gaza conflict has people pissed off about that. I mean, he's attacked so many different levels of society. Chances are there's something out there he's done to piss you off. The farmers are not happy.
For the record, Tim, I admitted that I got that wrong because I count on this country not to be I actually gave them credit for not being as racist and misogynistic and dumb for falling for Russian propaganda as they were.
What do you mean by racist, though?
And so, because when they looked at what people didn't vote for, black woman, racist and misogynistic were 1 and 2.
But Trump did very well among Hispanics. For you to say he's racist, I mean, people of color did. Trump got more votes from people.
They're not the only people of color.
No, but Trump. Hold on. Overall, Trump did better with people of color probably than any Republican president in our lifetime. The Reagans, the Bushes, he did. I mean,
and that's saying what?
That's saying that they don't see him as racist like you do.
No, that's not true. They see him as one that, no. I have talked to some people he made mistakes, so can I. I see a lot of people that see Trump as a very flawed man.
Okay, but not racist.
Because some of them excuse his racism. I've had him on my panel. No, he's racist.
You're telling me that you've had people of color, Hispanics, and black people on your panel that think he is racist, and they voted for him anyway?
Yeah, male. Voted for him anyway.
Why?
One of them walks around here calling himself privileged. Let's get over it. Let's be honest. They know what he is. God asked AI to go through, not sugarcoat anything, not be biased, not look at any headlines, and to ask if Trump was racist. It pulled up all the things he said that was racist. You would not believe how long that was.
Okay, but I'm still, if somebody says that Trump says something racist, at the end of the day, it's an opinion.
Tim, we all know that people lie to themselves. They can say it, but that don't make it true. I can tell you the sky's fucking purple. That don't make it true.
It might be right before a storm. But the thing about it is, you're saying that people of color voted for Trump while actively believing he is racist. I have never heard that before. Why would you do that?
The guys that I talked to are all well, he's got a felony. So can I. They latch on. They ignore the racism and latch on the fact they he has a felony. I'm wait, you want the immigrants out because you said they committed a crime, but you want him in the White House because he committed a crime. How does that make sense?
Well, they believe, it ain't that they believe he committed a crime, it's they believe he has a felony because he was railroaded by the government.
He committed a crime.
Huh?
Because they holler, he got away with it. There are plenty of people know he got away with it. Yeah, you would not believe the shit.
I gotta talk to some of them.
To women they would never say to other men. I'll start doing MAGA laws again. You listen to some of the shit they say.
I gotta come in there because I have never heard a person of color say, yeah, he's a racist, but I voted for him anyway. Most people of color that voted for Trump think he is anything but a racist and think he did a hell of a lot for people of color.
Say that, just openly admit it, like a guy. And the rest of them will deflect. They want to answer, they'll just go right into why they liked him.
Well, there are a lot of reasons to like Trump. There's a lot of reasons to like the man. I can get that. But I don't see why anybody of color would vote for somebody that they actively believe is a racist. That's crazy.
And look, they're like, the stock market recovered. My stocks have not recovered their original loss. And all these months that are rolling by without them recovering their original loss and not making more money is hurting us.
But do you believe, like the Trump administration is stating, that the stocks go in cycles like a roller coaster? They go up and down and they will bounce back?
No, because look at 2008. Gen X, who has any sense and went through 2008, will tell you they didn't get that money back. That money was just gone. That's, it starts at that point, but no, that shit's just over.
Well, I would say this, Denkel, if you're listening, because me and Denkel talked, and he's mentioned that he's lost quite a bit of money, and he expects the market to come back. So if you're suggesting
that's
that...
wishful thinking.
Wow, so you don't believe the market's going to... So you believe there's some permanent losses out there?
Well, I think that as long as we're doing what we're doing, no. And look, Donald Trump got a little, he's going to have to find somewhere else to put the prisoners, because thank God for NATO. They stepped in and told El Salvador, if you don't have any evidence on those prisoners yet, we're not giving you money.
You weren't here, but I want you to hear this, because you weren't tuned in, because you said he needs to find somewhere else to put the prisoners.
Officials have told CBS News the U.S. could soon start.
You heard about this.
The NATO hit them too. NATO says, no, we give you money too, and we're talking the billions of dollars. So you're going to take Donald Trump's little paltry money, or do you want our money? And now they're like, no, Trump, we're going to have some evidence. We're going to have to see some evidence and due process.
So you're saying that Libya is pushing back?
If they're not going to get $300-something billion, yeah.
I don't know. Trump is a deal maker. I would not be surprised if Trump gets Libya. Trump is a deal maker.
Wait, he's a deal maker? Didn't he make the agreement for Canada and Mexico? Didn't he make the last trade agreement? I could have swore he did. Now he's saying they're all ripping us off. So if they're all ripping us off to the amount he's saying they are, he's a really shitty deal maker, Kim.
No, what he is doing, and I hate to sound like MAGA defending them, but what he is doing is realizing that the deal I made with them earlier, I can get a better deal. Now I'm in a better position. So I'll just say they ripped me off.
Wait, it'd be different if he said that, but that ain't what he's telling us. He's telling us that they've been ripping us off for decades. So what the hell did he do last term?
Well, he gets sometimes he messes up in the wording, but he is a deal maker, and he tends to get what he wants. And
well, no, and I'm really enjoying this too. All this time, MAGA said he didn't mean that. Now they're coming on my panel. One last night actually said he regretted his vote, and I said why? And this is what the dumbass said. I didn't really think he was going to do all that shit. I was like, this is what he campaigned on. And I ripped into him because he's one of the ones I talked to about Project 2025 before the election. I was like, I just was all.
You talk to MAGA that are
we talked to several.
No,
man, they're all over the app.
You've talked to MAGA that are rethinking their vote and admitting outright that they're not happy with Trump. They make people like that.
I helped turn one. And they've been coming back to my room. I've talked to several of my other panels. We now know at least 10. I don't care if y'all think so or not.
I have never heard of MAGA. CNN can find a couple of them.
If I send you the invite, will you come? Because I can't keep them there forever.
I will definitely come visit. I've been doing this, I do lives damn near every day or every other day, and I don't have any MAGA that are unhappy. They're very happy with Trump.
Well, one of them was a farmer, and he did all the prerequisites to get the grants to make his farm run better and all that, and they cut his funding.
It'll be back. That's what they usually suggest. They usually believe that it'll be back.
And a couple of them were mothers whose daughters were getting Pell Grants. Their kids were getting Pell Grants, and now they're not going to get them.
Okay, but it'll get better with the economy. The terrorists will pay the money.
I really don't have empathy for them. I ain't gonna lie. Like these people in the comments can say they don't care, but everybody's like, Landy, they're coming to our side. You should meet them. I'm so sick of that speech. You should meet them halfway and be welcoming. No, they should enjoy the fruits of what they damn voted for. I hope they enjoy every fucking bit of it. Because whether they say on here, oh, it hurt me, it is. Unless you ain't buying groceries, you don't pay your power bill, and gas. Oh God, Saudi Arabia is about to screw Trump again. We're gonna have high gas prices when he gets out because they're drilling. I mean, they're.
I do gotta move it on, but keep in mind the liberals always
Well,
say.
let me say this one thing because I want to make sure they hear this about the gas. Saudi Arabia is drilling, and the more they drill, the more American, the American love America, oil producers you're putting out of business. So enjoy that one.
All right.
And when they're done, it'll hurt us because the U.S. dollar is the petrol dollar, and the more they drive it down, the more they drive down the U.S. dollar. So congratulations on that too. Love you, Tim. Oh, by the way, I love that video you sent me. I watched it. Me too, by the way.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. And I will say this. Now, I'm not saying what she's saying is right or wrong, but it wouldn't be the first time somebody on the left made a prediction about President Trump or the direction this country was going to go in, and they were wrong. I mean, hell, I'm one of those liberals that thought things were going to go a hell of a lot differently. In the first Trump administration, certainly in the election, I lost a lot of money in the election because I made bets on this shit. Trump won every damn swing state. So what she is saying could certainly happen, but I will repeat, it wouldn't be the first time the left was predicting doom and gloom for the Trump administration, and it turned out to be okay. So, and as she rightfully pointed out in the beginning of the conversation, if Trump loses, we all lose. So nobody should be rooting for him to lose. But it is what it is. Looking in the comments, for better or worse, Tim, I don't know about the better part. Handsome liberal or being sarcastic or for real. If you're for real, I can't keep watching your live. I can't pronounce your name. Pitts Sedition or whatever it says. You're asking me, am I being for real? In what regard? Am I being for real about what? State your case. By the way, I had a talk with a maggot coming from Will G. Says, talking about egg prices. The dumbest thing that came out of his mouth was egg prices were down based on the egg or sale at military exchanges. Yeah, that don't sound right. In fact, you got Trump on video saying egg prices are down like 87%. Remember in the beginning, earlier in the live, I stated that for my beloved MAGA, my folks who support Trump, anything he says is perceived as valid. It doesn't actually have to be true. It doesn't have to be proven. If Trump says the price of eggs are down 87%, I can assure you that in some right-wing circles, people are saying that. People are using that as a defense. Well, Biden didn't bring eggs down 87 cents. Remember, as I stated, he does not have to prove what he's saying. All he has to do is say it. When he stated, and I keep bringing this up because it's just a gift that keeps on giving, but when he originally stated on the debate stage that there are eating cats and dogs in Haiti, or in not Haiti, Haitian migrants he was referring to, but he said they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield, Ohio. We did a live on that very night, and there were plenty of folks on the right coming up with photos, sending me videos from Cambodia and places throughout the Asian continent. See, this is in their culture. They do this. Photos of people in Haiti and shit like that. If he says something, the first inclination is to defend what he says without even asking him, well, could you prove what you said? The other day he talked about gas prices are down to like $1.98 or something like that in several states was his claim. I had folks on the show defending him. Some suggested, well, he didn't actually say per gallon. I think it was DJ Julio, said he might have been talking about kilowatt of energy. Just the automatic inclination is to defend him. And there are other clips that you can find of Trump. When he's talking about gas prices, he's clearly saying per gallon. He wasn't talking about any other unit of measure, but folks just have this indication that we got to defend this guy. That's where locker room talk came in. Trump never said locker room talk initially. Folks in defense of him did it. Well, shit, it sounds like a good defense. I'll use it. Knowing dang well the military exchange are on a different level, and not everyone has access to the exchange. The groceries are tax-free for military, veterans, and retirees. So they're using the price of eggs at a military exchange to give Trump credit for it. As Will rightfully points out, the average individual, the average citizen don't have any access to eggs at that price because they have no access to the military exchange. It shouldn't even be part of the conversation. I do agree with that. Like I said, something popes were for straight up evil. Some pope, you think some popes? Well, in the 1400s. He said, like I said, some popes were for straight up evil acts, especially back in the 1400s. Who do you think started the transatlantic slave trade? Yeah, we know the Catholic religion does have some evils in its history. The child sex abuse scandals. They knew about that stuff right on up to the very top of that religion. They did know about that stuff. So I agree with you. There's some evil out of the Catholic religion. But I don't think that the current Pope, the current Catholic religion, would favor what Trump is doing in America. Because Trump is running an administration that is favorable to the wealthy, favorable to the haves, and not so favorable to the have-nots. I'm talking about from lower middle class and poor Americans right on down to immigrants, and not only illegal immigrants. He's not favorable to poor immigrants trying to come here legally either. Trump is not favorable to immigrants. He's just not. I haven't heard him speak of immigrants from a standpoint of being favorable at all, outside of maybe Melania's family. I don't know what you're saying there. Dumb diversities is a papal. Okay, this one's gonna give me ball issued in June 18, 1942 by Pope Nicholas. It authorized King Alfonso of Portugal to fight, subjugate, and conquer those rising against the Catholic faith in Africa. Yeah, I don't doubt all religions, if you go back far enough, has committed some atrocities, because religion was used as power over the people, whether it is for sexual exploitation, you talk about slavery, you talk about conquering lands, you're talking about stealing wealth and resources. You go back far enough, most religions have atrocities in their history. You certainly talking about the 1400s for sure. Going back to the next caller, by the way, tap the screen. Get your guy on up to about 50 thou. Let your thumbs not be lazy. We're talking about a host of issues. Got to put on my spectacles there to see what the hell's on the screen there. We are talking about the fact that we have a new pope. I mentioned earlier that one of Trump's claim to fame was the fact that, unlike the Biden administration, under Trump's first term, we didn't have any new wars. Not only was that one of Trump's claim to fame, it was echoed here many times by me when when I'm taking a devil's advocate standpoint and I'm defending Trump, and I was comparing him to the Biden administration. One of the things I often gave Trump credit for is that under him, we have not had any new wars. Well, apparently, this second go round, that doesn't seem like that's going to be much of an accolade, because we know what's happening in Gaza between the Israelis and Palestine. We know the Ukraine-Russian war certainly won't be ending in 24 hours. Doesn't like it's going to be. It didn't end in 24 weeks if you really look at it, and who knows how long that's going to go on. But it does look like there will be new wars under the second term of Trump. So that bragging point won't exist this time.
Blessed, tonight, India says it has targeted 9 sites, quote, hitting terrorist infrastructure. In new video, explosions can be seen and heard in what Pakistan says is 3 areas, saying civilians, including a child, have been killed. We're also getting in this new video of chaotic scenes in a Pakistan hospital. Tensions between the 2 nuclear-armed force powers soared after a deadly militant attack on tourists on Indian-administered Kashmir last month. There has been a long-running dispute over Kashmir between India and Pakistan.
So now we're also talking about 2 nuclear nations that border each other. The nation of India and Pakistan are also now taking shots at each other. So there's a third outbreak that's happening during the Trump's term. Now, I'm not blaming Trump for the India-Pakistan war, but then again, I wouldn't blame Biden for the Ukrainian-Russian war or the Israeli-Palestinian war. But the Trump administration was blaming Biden for the wars that happened under his watch. So in all fairness, then the ones that happened under Trump's watch, he's going to get blamed for as well. And fact is, he hasn't ended any of the wars that took place under Biden's watch, and now he has a new one that started under his. So that was one of his signature promises, that if I was president, wars wouldn't break out. Everybody was afraid of Trump. Nobody's afraid of Biden. Everybody respected Trump. Do you see that happening now? Do you still tend to think that? Excuse me, looking in the comments, that's under his watch. Why aren't the media drilling him about India and Pakistan? As one of my callers mentioned, the whole notion of flooding the zone, there's so much going on under the Trump administration. You just don't have time to drill him on all of it. You just don't. He's not a boring president where there's only one issue going on. I mean, there's literally probably 20, 30 things. I mean, right now we're talking about possibly sending immigrants to Libya. We're still trying to get some of them back from El Salvador. We're talking about still funding or assisting the Israelis in what they're doing to the Palestinians. We're still talking about whether or not he's going to end the Ukraine. I mean, there's just so many things. The Ukrainian war is still going on. I mean, there is literally so many things you could grill him on that you kind of don't have time to get around to a war that's happening overseas because there's so much other shit going on. Let me go to the box and we'll go to the gangsta grandma. Good evening, gangsta. No fluffing tonight, right? Gangsta grandma's a no fluffing zone, right?
I'll come for your black ass. Well, you said was some racist ass shit about the damn immigrants. How dare you say, oh, well, I can't understand English like the immigrants do? That's some racist ass shit. Do you forget where the fuck you came from?
Wait. What did I say? What are you talking about?
You said that they didn't understand with the damn robot and shit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, you talking about when Andy put the robot on and she was...
Yes, you said it. Yes.
She's speaking English to the robot and the robot's not understanding her. And I said the robot must be...
Racist shit about the immigrants. Yeah, that's racist.
How is that?
Ray?
Racist to who?
To the immigrants, Dodo.
Andy,
I forgot. You're kissing the white man's ass. You're gonna become white, right? Yeah. Don't let it get twisted that you're black, bitch.
Andy, wow. Andy, I was an immigrant myself when I moved to Australia.
Okay, if you was, then you should have kept your mouth shut and didn't say no. That was fuck shit. That was racist.
You break it up. Let me you really took a joke way too far. When I migrated...
That wasn't a joke, that was racist.
Okay, when I
Look at that was racist. That was racist.
Gangsta grandma, rather. When I migrated, because I called you Andy, but when I migrated overseas, I was the guy I'm making jokes about. You know, there's a whole lot of slang in Australia.
I don't give a damn about making jokes. You're a black man. You shouldn't even be saying no fuck shit like that.
That's not racist. That's not racist.
That was racist.
Okay.
You're onion. You got some people in our thing was going off on you. Like, well, what did you say, bro? What the fuck is wrong with you? I forgot. You're getting that too whiteness, huh? Yeah.
Because I said an immigrant because I said a robot that doesn't understand English must be an immigrant. That's a racist comment?
Oh. Wow. If you don't think that's racist, then you need to stop. Then you need to go back to your fucking blackness and fucking find out where the fuck you really are. Because you're gonna becoming white. They're becoming maggots.
I will say stereotyping at best. That doesn't... Racism is a...
That was racist.
No.
I ain't gonna argue with your black ass. I'm gonna get heated. And I need to take a blunt for that one. Because I'm gonna come to the damn phone and go down and choke the fuck out you when you said it. And that woman should have said it. She should have clocked your ass. But she did it.
Okay, me and Andy go back just like you and I. We've been talking for a while.
And you should have clocked your ass too for saying it.
It wasn't racist.
See, I don't know. I don't know no Andy. You know what I mean? I don't know her. So I can't talk shit about her yet. But I can talk shit about you, though. Because I know your black ass.
Okay, well, I think what you're saying to me is far more racist than what you're criticizing me about.
I Because what you did was fucked up. And if we had any immigrants up in this shit, they would have fucking felt the shit too. They would have felt that your ass was racist.
Andy.
But I forget,
Andy.
you weren't very close to whiteness.
Andy. Suggesting that an immigrant does not understand English when a hell of a lot of immigrants don't understand English in real life, how is that racist?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, I can't stand ignorant. I can't stand ignorant. You're ignorant. Not all. Let me tell you something. A lot of them.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Try it again.
I'm just so tired of your ass.
Okay. I wish I could. Your signal. You're only got like one bar, so apparently.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on, because
when I say we don't.
Now do you hear me?
Perfectly. That's much better.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Just because an immigrant can't speak it doesn't mean they can't understand it. Do you understand me?
Okay.
That's fucked up. That was a really shitty ass shit you did.
No, it's.
And she didn't clock your ass, but my fucking fat black ass is gonna clock you. Do you understand me?
Okay, you just said just because an immigrant doesn't speak it doesn't mean they don't understand it. And I was going to follow up by saying just because someone says an immigrant can't speak English doesn't mean they hate immigrants. That don't mean it's racist towards immigrants.
I said, I don't give a damn. Why are you trying to make excuses? Why don't you just own the shit? Instead of making excuses that you did what you did. You did it.
I didn't say
I heard you say it.
I didn't.
That was some racist shit.
I didn't say I didn't do it. I said your interpretation is flat out false.
Oh my God. Okay, whatever, dude. What the fuck?
Let me ask you to you this way. Based on what I said, and I'm not denying that I said what you suggested I said, based on me making that statement that this robot that does not understand English and me making a reference of, well, damn, what is that, an immigrant? Do you believe my statement leads you to believe that I hate immigrants?
I didn't say that.
You said I'm racist. You said I'm racist.
I said, okay, just because you're racist, what you said, I didn't say you was a racist. I said what you said was racist. See, that's how slow you motherfuckers are. I know you're a maggot. I know you is. I know you undercover something.
What?
Because look at you. I didn't call you a racist. I said what you said was racist. And it was. That's a big difference. Say that you're a racist, that you triple K. No, I didn't say that. I said what you said was racist.
Yeah, I think you're going way off the rails of this.
Okay, then tell your audience that too, because they said it. They even said that you did.
Well, hopefully I can get someone to follow you up that backs up your opinion, because I like to hear from somebody else as well.
Right there. She's right, Tim. Look.
What am I looking at?
Oh my God. Hey, I forgot you're blind in the fucking back too. You can't even read your chat.
Hey, you're calling me, you're dropping all of these bombs on me, but you started out by saying I'm the one that's hateful.
Your chat is even saying it. Okay. Your chat is even saying what you said was fucking racist. Okay. I ain't calling your ugly ass a fucking racist. I said what you said was fucking racist. And what you did was fucking racist. But you're a fucking bluey? Fuck you. You ain't no bluey. You're a fucking ratty. Go there and kiss the white man's ass. See how good he's gonna hang your ass on a tree. Go ahead. I'm done with your ass. I'm so done. I am so done. That was a fuck shit. And you say you was an immigrant bitch, please.
All right.
Let's get off topic. Let's get off topic and talk about something else before I have to go really smoke a damn blunt fucking with you. I swear you're not. No, I don't see it. Let me tell you something. You say you handsome liberal fucking idiot. No, you ain't no handsome liberal shit. You feel what I'm saying? You're a maggot. Because you all be rocking for those motherfuckers. They come there rubbing up on your ass. That's what they is. They rub up on you. They is.
What I do find humorous is that you referred to me as a black ass. You referred to me as ugly. You call. Hold on. Hang on. You're not letting me talk. You referred to me as ugly. You referred to me as a black ass. You even called me a bitch. But somehow, I'm the racist. I'm the hateful guy.
Oh, you a bitch, the racist? Well, guess what? All of us women get called bitches every damn day. You want a cookie? You want a chocolate chip cookie?
All right.
They call us women bitches every damn day.
I'm going to take the position of Big Boss in the comments, who I think is probably MAGA, and he made the statement. That's why Democrats lose, is you eating other Democrats like that. When the statement.
No. See, that's what they do. See, that's what the little maggots do. They don't call their shit out. They don't. They let the racists and shit go ahead. That's what they do. They let them go. You feel what I'm saying? They let them go and slide like they do Trump with his triple K ass and stuff. You feel what I mean? They let them. You know what I mean? I won't. I'll call your ass out. I don't give a damn if you're blue, red, white, yellow. I'll call your ass out. And what you said was racist. I ain't calling you a racist, but what you said was racist. And if we don't call your asses out, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't see anything racist about that at all, and I call that racism on the program myself all the time.
I'm sorry. If you don't think that was racist, then you need to go get your IQ test and stick with your MAGA friends, because they're the ones that think it's cute for what you said, and it wasn't. It was not cute. It was fucking derogatory, and it was fucking nasty. You want to take accountability, but that's okay. Let's change the subject before I get really pissed the fuck off. I'm not really pissed the fuck off right now. I'm really not.
You threatened to before you get really pissed. You threatened to choke me through the screen. How much more angry you gonna
When you said the shit like Ghost did, I want to choke you the fuck out. I sure did, because I never heard you say some fuck shit like that.
It wasn't that bad.
Never.
I got it.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I be joking with your ass. I be calling you fluffy. I ain't calling you fluffy tonight. I didn't. I called you worse. And that is some fuck shit.
Gangsta, every night we talk, it's we could gauge it on different levels, but you insult me to some degree. Tonight's a little bit greater, but
you be fluffing. Okay. You'll be fluffing. Boy, let me tell you something. And I promise you, oh God, you always go to the right. You always go to, I'm gonna play devil advocate. That's your say. I'm gonna play devil advocate. I'm gonna play, no, even you know it's fucking wrong as hell. I'm gonna play devil advocate.
I get literally hammered by MAGA for criticizing Trump, and here you go saying I always go to the right. Really?
You do. When you really criticize Trump? Oh, please do tell me when you really go straight ham on Trump. You really don't. I'm telling you, you'll be fluffing on those white team men that up in the air, up in your box saying, yeah, I know, let me play devil advocate for me. You don't push back. Or when you go on the Black Mega Live, you don't really push back. You be stuttering and stuff. You don't be pushing back. You don't be real. Be honest.
I gotta be. When you say be honest, I'll tell you this. When you say I don't push back, based on the level of how you push back, I can see why you would say that. No, I don't talk to people like you do, Andy. I don't do that. So yeah, if you think calling people a bitch and all of this stuff is, no, I don't do that.
Can I tell you something? I call those maggots bitches and stuff. Look what the fuck we're going through. We can't. Look, our stores and shit's gonna be empty and stuff. Did I vote for that shit? Fuck no. Did I vote for that the damn racist piece of shit? And it's gonna take people's Section 8 away and shit. After 2 fucking years, did I vote for that shit? Fuck no. And your ass over there, cupcake it. The second thing.
Oh my.
What the fuck? You know why the black maggots won't get me up there? They know I'll drag him to the pits of fucking hell. I will call him beneath the fucking bitch. You know what? I would too. I would. For the love of God. But they're too cowards to put me up there. Like AJ and them, they would never add me up there. Because I'll drag him to the pits of fucking hell. But you know what? I'm not a scary ass like you though.
I gotta tell you something. This is when you talk about me playing devil's advocate or whatever. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'll tell you this: listening to you talk is like the definition of what they mean by liberal tears. You sound like the vocals of liberal tears.
No, I'm not crying. I'm pissed the fuck off. I'm not crying. I'm not sad. I'm pissed the fuck off. Because you know who's hurting at the end of this shit is the poor people. They're giving it up. You know the people that voted for his sorry piece of shit ass, the people that voted for this whole triple K shit is a poor trash, as they call them. The ones that's in the ghettos and shit. That's the ones that voted for him. The ones, they're gonna help me. They're gonna help me. We're not. not gonna have high prices of shit. Hello.
Well,
Well, we're gonna get fucked in the ass by the condo.
he's
I ain't vote for shit. I'm gonna get screwed. I'm gonna get screwed. My small business is gonna get screwed.
He's only been in office for 3 months. I keep calling you Andy, but Gangsta Grandma, because you started out discussing what I said to Andy. But look, Gangsta Grandma, he's only been in office for 3 months.
And look what he's done. Look what he's done.
He secured the border.
Oh my fucking God! Oh my God! You are true fucking maggot. The border's never been closed. What can't you comprehend this shit? 10,000 Mexican troops have been on the border. Has been there. He got played stupid. The woman president of Mexico.
You don't give Trump credit for doing anything, do you?
What? For what? For what? Shit, he didn't do nothing at the border like that. He thinks he did, but Biden did it. Why does Biden have more deporters than he do? Huh?
Andy, I keep saying Andy, Gangsta Grandma, Border Patrol has made it clear that border crossings under Trump are down like 90%. You're telling me they lying?
They lying. They lying. They haven't caught them. They haven't caught them. Pookie, okay? They haven't caught them. So go run to your little MAGA friend and say, oh yeah, the border's down. I give him credit. For what? The Mexican military's been there. Oh, I gotta live.
I can't believe that you don't think that under Trump, just the incentive based on the shit he's doing is turning people around. And some folks have began to self-deport.
Now he wants to tell people he's gonna give them $1,000 to deport their asses. Why do you think that is? Because he can't do shit. Okay? Right. And attention, you illegal and undocumented immigrants, please don't do it. Don't trust the white man. They're fucking us over. And what is this?
You sure you don't have a problem with white people?
Oh my fuck God. Do you have a problem with immigrants? Like you just said? You got a problem with immigrants? I don't like the maggot white people. Now, the decent white people, yes, I do. I like them to that. They are welcome to my barbecue, okay? But not the maggots. Hell to the fucking no. The ones that are saying that they regret the vote. You know what? I give them props and I respect them because they came out and they said I regret the vote. There's one dude. His name is Jay. He was a white man, right? He said, I didn't even think he was racist like this. So I started seeing what he's doing to the immigrants. Okay? He said, I regret the vote because he's a racist. Yeah. And he was a maggot. He was. I give him props.
How do you respond to folks in the comments that might suggest that you're diluting the term racist by throwing it around so damn much?
Oh, really? You walk like a fucking duck. You talk like a fucking duck. You voted for the fucking duck. You a duck.
All right, Gangsta Grandma.
No, let me tell you something. When you can vote for a man that's like that, and you see what he's doing to the black and brown people, and you see it constantly, and you don't speak up, you're a racist. There is people that love the MAGA cult and saying, hey, they are racist. He is racist, and they walked out. I give them props.
You got just about full employment under Trump. What is he doing that's bad to the brown people?
What?
I'm asking. He's suggesting he's done a hell of a lot for black people. What do you? I mean, from HBCUs. I mean, this is what he's saying.
That's what. Do you see this shit? Do you see what they're doing? They're cupcaking. You know damn fucking well that motherfucker didn't do shit. Only gave a couple million. After he tried to take it away, and I forgot the senator's name. I forgot her name. Okay? I forgot her name, but she made him put it back in.
Let me ask you the flip question to this. What the hell did Biden do for black people?
What? I know your ass ain't going, what the hell?
I'm just asking a question.
The question. For one, Mr. Maggot, okay? For one, he can't just do something just for black people. He does it for all people. It's against the Constitution. You just do it for one fucking race of people, okay? He's done a lot for all of us.
So in other words, the answer is nothing.
He did the PAC. He did the infrastructure. What else? The CHIPS Act that gives black people jobs. The black vets is PAC. Billion dollars. Okay? $billion. Because that ain't doing shit for black people? That ain't doing shit for black people?
The black people didn't see it against the grandma. The black people did not see it.
Black people didn't see it. Because you know what they want? They want the cupcake and eat it too. They just want it all for them. But it's not all for them. You can't just do it all for one color. You do it for all. He's a president for all of us. He did for all of us.
I think you might just...
What is Trump doing for us? Oh, please do tell me.
What
the fuck Trump doing? He's raising our taxes. What else is he doing for us? He's raising our taxes. He don't give a fuck.
I think you might have that derangement syndrome they be talking about. I gotta go though.
You know, I'm not like you. I'm not kissing no black. I'm not kissing nobody's fucking black ass. I ain't kissing your ass. I ain't kissing no white man's ass. But I surely don't kiss that Triple K's ass. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna give them no credit. You are a cupcake. You a cupcake to them. You a sugar baby to them, or sugar daddy to them. You up there in their lives kissing their fucking ass, and you don't even push the fuck back. That's why AJ and them won't have me up there. Because you know why? Because I'll roast them the fucking hell back, and I'll make them hurt them damn selves. Think I won't.
Gangsta, I gotta go. Thank you. Appreciate you coming through. When I say we don't black ban or censor, if you need more proof than that, you need to open your fucking ears. We don't black ban or censor. We let the people speak. You can be critical of the host. I think there's a perfect demonstration of that right there. By the way, I'm going to ask you to tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 60,000. You don't have to agree with me. We can have free speech here. You can certainly, I'm going to push back. You see me, I gave her a fair bit of pushback. I got a lot of people in the comments, though. I'm interested because she's not the only one that believed me suggesting that a robot that didn't understand English was an immigrant was, but she said racist. But I mean, some folks might say it was insensitive or it was insulting or whatever. I'd be interested to see if I can get another caller to kind of back up her statement about that. I disagree vehemently, but listen, I'm willing to listen to adverse opinions. And I see in the comments, Selena Don Hopkins says it was not. Tim, you just got a taste of his JC. Yeah, anytime I get Gangsta Grandma, I'm going to get a taste of it. You laughing like it was an alter ego. I didn't see it that way. To me, suggesting that all of them are rapists and murderers is racist. Suggesting that they're poisoning the blood of this country is racist. You know, suggesting that, you know, any illegal in the country is here to commit crimes and hurt everybody is racist. Making reference to a robot that does not understand the language as an immigrant, which fact is a lot of immigrants come to America, go to other countries, because I use my own self as an example. When I migrated to Australia, one of the first things I did when I went over there is went to a comedy show. I love going to comedy shows. I go to comedy shows all over the country. Here I do. And I couldn't understand the comedian, because he was using a lot of native Australian slang and everybody's laughing and cracking up and I didn't understand what the hell he said. I was an immigrant that did not understand the language. I don't see how that's racist. That's just my point. I think it's, as someone in the comments said, the hyper left is what can cause the left to lose elections. I think the left bashing other members of their own party, because come election day, there's a really good chance that me and Gangsta Grandma are going to be voting for the same damn people. But the actions that she is taking means that if I was running for office as a left-wing politician, she probably wouldn't vote for me, even though we're on the same side. This is what we're talking about. The unity on the left is just non-existent, which is why even though folks are criticizing the hell out of Trump, his poll numbers are still better than the left. Looking in the comments, they speak English in Australia. You didn't understand the references. That's what I'm talking about. They use whole words that we don't. Like, for instance, the trunk of a car is called the boot. So if somebody hands you something that says put that in the boot and you're standing next to a car, you don't know what the hell they're talking about. The bathroom is called the loo, L-O-O. I didn't understand. That ain't just a reference. That's a whole fucking word that's different. They're calling things whole different words. So, yeah, it happened to me too. I mean, I know what it's like. Trump ain't shit, says Will G. Says he only flooded the zone to avoid accountability for real issues. Partially. partially agree with that, Will G. I think Trump flooded the zone also because, like what Steve Bannon said, if you want to get something done, throw 3 or 4 things out there, and they'll be chasing that stuff, and you're going to get something through. So, you know, you want to get 3 or 4 things done that are controversial, throw out a bunch of shit, and at least one of your things are going to get through. That's flooding the zone. So I think avoiding accountability, yeah, but also to get stuff done. I mean, Trump is literally doing so much so quickly that it's almost impossible to stop it all. That's the opinion I'm thinking. Gangsta Grandma in doing nothing. So that's coming from Evil Super Majin Boo. Thank you for the support. Says Gangsta Grandma is doing nothing, dude. It's halftime with you. You guys going back and forth. What is going on? Well, the last thing I want to ever be accused of, and that's kind of why I give, you know, listen, if I got an adverse caller, I give them just a little tiny little bit more time. And the reason why is, I want to make it clear when we say we don't block, ban, or censor, particularly if you have opposing opinions, make it obvious. You get plenty of time to state your case. I gave her more than enough time to state her case, even though it was incredibly critical of me. So, but thank you for the comment. Once again, Ejin Super Major Boo says, handsome, I think you need to tell Gangsta Grandma she needs to get that cough medicine in her. It's bedtime. LOL, you are missing out on dinner. I don't think I've ever had her on where she wasn't criticizing me for something. Today was a little bit stronger because she thought what I was saying was racist, but she's always, here's the problem. I do play devil's advocate often, not only because I like to see the other side of some issues, sometimes I do see the other side of some issues. I don't think every single thing about Trump is bad. I don't think every single thing about the left is good. And the problem is if you're on the right and you're critical of Trump, you don't like somebody that's, you know, if you're on the right and you like Trump, you don't like hearing somebody that's critical of Trump. I'm that guy sometimes. If you're on the left, you don't tend to like to hear anybody that's speaking positively of Trump. I'm also that guy sometimes. So I'm going to take it from both sides. I get it. That's how it works. She doesn't like that. And it leads to some of that type of conversation. Do you think she meant insensitive? I don't get what you mean by that, Maria. Do I think she meant insensitive? How, you got to explain a little bit more. Doesn't look like you see good at all, says Jim Bennett. Well, both sides say I'm working too well for the other side. So apparently I see good for the wrong side to everybody else. Let me go to the box. Mike, maybe you can clear it up and tell me what I did wrong. Was my statement racist? I mean, be honest with me. Let me know where I fucked up. Let me know if I fucked up.
I didn't listen. I'm not going to say it was racist, but I will say this. And maybe this is where she was coming from. I don't know. I don't want to speak for her because she can speak for herself. That's for damn sure. I think that when you say that with people that feel that way or that are racist in their presence, it's just food for their thoughts.
So I'm validating racist, right? In other words. Or it can be taken that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
That makes a little more sense. In other words, read the room or something. What you're basically saying is read the room.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a little more sense than what she was saying. She was going off on me. Damn, she tore me to pieces.
Yeah, you big black.
It's been a long time since I had anybody call me, well, a woman call me a bitch. She called me a bitch. Damn, like my God.
Yeah. She with all caps too.
Yeah, but at the end of it, I mean, I'll just say it like this, because a lot of my viewers are very passionate about their beliefs, because when she came on and she started tearing me a new one for what I had said to Andy, that comment was old at that point. I had talked to several people between that. And she was so angry, she maintained the anger towards that one comment. We didn't address anything the show was actually about.
At all.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and I I've told you this before. I'm like, when we're on these forums and you're talking to, it's like staunch Trump supporters, Julio, Jeremy, MAGA React, and those people that are listening on all your platforms. If they see no flaws in Trump or what he's doing, and they ignore all the racism, all the bigotry, all the misogyny, if they ignore all that, all they have to do is hear one statement from somebody on the left, and they feel validated because they'll say, even that person said that, and that's where that's what I be coming from, because it's like all it takes is one. They can't admit anything. All they take, well, Tim said it. See, Tim said it, and that's what happened.
So in other words, I was.
I think that's.
You breaking up, or there's a delay.
Back in the day,
there's a delay or something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but I think there's a delay or something. But go ahead.
You remember back in the day when your mom used to say something that some conversations are for in-house, right? You got to just be careful. Just like when it's just that's just I think that's where she was coming from. But I don't know. I don't need to speak for her. But she just said thank you. So
I see the comment. Yeah, I see that.
I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it in a kinder, gentler, like alter egos, like Mike's on H.
Well, let me give you this one though, because I think this is coming from Draco on my YouTube horizontal platform. He's saying that, in other words, no jokes with the libtards, Tim. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to refer to any liberal as a libtard, but his statement rather has some validity into it. In other words, you can't be. You gotta be kind of, I guess, hesitant with your own language around liberals. I mean, it makes it look like liberals can't take a joke, because I meant that as no harm at all, and she blew the fuck up on that.
No, I know you didn't mean any harm, but it's not about talking to me. It's about talking to me in quote unquote mixed company, if you will. You understand what that's what I mean. It's not about having a sense of humor or none of that stuff, because I didn't take it that way, but I see why it got her all fired up. Because I was too busy in the comments kicking people in the teeth about these bullshit egg prices they talking about. It's ridiculous. That's what I was in the comments.
Do you think at all? I get your explanation for how you interpret her mindset, and I don't disagree with you totally on that, but do you see it at all that she might have been possibly too sensitive? Because I got a lot of folks in the comments, just like a lot of folks thought what I said was wrong, a lot of other folks are saying that, just way too sensitive, hyper left, too far to the left, too progressive. Do you see any of that in there?
I can't make that determination for her. I can't make that.
I mean, what about for you though? Do you?
Because it's her. It's how she feels about it. It's not how I feel about it.
Okay.
Tim, I got thicker skin though. The darker the guy, the typically thicker skin you got, because you've heard all kinds of shit your entire life. So I have much thicker skin. A lot of things don't bother me. So, but again, there are certain topics that I find myself paying more attention to when it comes to misogyny and homophobia and stuff like that.
Basically,
people are looking for a reason to continue.
Yeah, I'm going to put on my devil's advocate MAGA hat, and I'm going to interpret what you're saying as basically you're stating that I'm not a snowflake.
No, you're not.
That's what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying right now, is I'm not a snowflake.
No, you're not.
No, you were saying you have thicker skin. You are not a snowflake.
No, I'm saying I'm not a snowflake. That shit don't bother me.
Exactly.
To that extent. But here's my point. Just because it doesn't bother me doesn't mean I won't defend someone else's right to have an opinion about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to bother me for me to address it.
Well,
does that make sense?
I agree with the part about just because it doesn't bother you, you don't want to necessarily offend somebody else. I agree with that, but I'll say this. You kind of lose the room the minute you try to address that with the other person and you call them a bitch. You don't care about offending people at that point. So you kind of lose it once you do that. I don't don't want to hear about you being offended when you start saying all of that stuff.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Like I said, how did all my time get caught up in this conversation?
Because I thought I saw you in the comments defending
I
it.
just think it's crazy.
Okay, well, I want to ask you about something else. We'll move it on, but I want to ask you about this. And I played the clip earlier, but have you heard about this?
Just minutes ago, one of the co-hosts of The Five, Judge Jeanine Pirro, will be appointed interim United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump announced that on Truth Social just moments ago. Jeanine was Assistant District Attorney for Westchester County, New York, and then went on to serve as County Judge and District Attorney, where she was the first woman ever to be elected to those positions. She will be leaving Fox to take this position, and we obviously wish.
What do you think?
They're turning our government into a reality TV show. It's like the real idiots of the U.S. government. I mean, this is now we got Vera DeMilo going to be the. This is ridiculous. But you know what? But it's not surprising.
No,
it's not surprising.
True, that is true.
But it's ridiculous.
If you have a
earlier and you didn't say one word.
Say that again.
No, I said you posted a video earlier and didn't say one word. You just shook your head.
This video here.
Did you make a?
Yes.
Yeah, you just shook your head. You didn't say a word. You just shook your head.
Yeah.
Because it's insane.
Yeah.
It's totally insane how the right talks all this about merit and about and they demonize DEI, and then they turn right around and hire people that are woefully unqualified for these roles based on this level of blind loyalty. And the crazy part is no one should want blind loyalty.
Yeah. And that's what this is. That the only reason that she has this job is because
blind loyalty doesn't help. It just doesn't.
Well, it guarantees. Well, the thing about it is Trump, during his first term, believes he could have accomplished a lot more if he didn't have so many members of his own administration pushing back. So that's been one of the signature goals, is to make sure for my next administration, I'm not going to appoint people that are likely to push back.
Right, and that's the only reason he's appointing these. And it's funny. So, and I've asked Bake Boss in the comments to request a couple times. But now Bake Boss, and I've seen Bake Boss, and I'm talking directly to him. I've watched him in the comments for months talk about how Kamala was unqualified and she was all of these things. He said some nasty things about her. And then when I say that she's not qualified, he goes, not qualified, she was a judge. It's like their standard for their own arguments are so flawed. You can't even take them serious because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense. He just said Kamala can't even say the Pledge of Allegiance. That's what I'm talking about.
What? What is that? That ain't got nothing to do with any of this.
Listen, I'm only bringing it up because these are the things how people think to hide their racism, their misogyny, their homophobia. They say those things, but what they really mean is another thing. That's why they align with Trump. Because Trump says the things and does the things they really want to say. Right? Except for pointing out. Did you hear earlier when they asked him about the toys in Mattel, and Trump talked about Mattel as if it was a country?
No.
The toy manufacturer.
I didn't hear that.
Yes, they were asking him about Mattel, and he said, what did he? Hold on, let me see.
And hold on a second. Papa Naya Shelley says $5 she's white. Are you talking about Judge Jeanine Pirro? I think she's Lebanese, isn't she? Or she's Italian? What is I mean, she would pass as white though. Judge Jeanine Pirro from Fox.
I think she's Lebanese. She's Lebanese, or I think she's something.
Yeah.
I think she's Lebanese.
She ain't black or Hispanic, so she'll do.
Or Indian. Yeah. Or what about when he was asked about sending migrants to Libya and anything about that? You need to talk to Homeland Security. How many times do we give Trump a pass to say, I don't know about things like the Constitution, and I don't know who's being deported. You need to talk to Homeland Security. And I don't know. They give him all of these ridiculous passes that a president should know what's going on, and they just brush it off because they don't care. That's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with today.
Well, I mean, there's nothing but love and adoration for Trump, so he might be the next guy for the next 2 terms. So they really like the man. They really like him.
Well, you know what's so funny? I talked to a MAGA guy today. I wanted to tell you this. I talked to a MAGA guy today, and he's wavering on his vote only because he believes in the Constitution. He's been trying to support him all this time, and what he said was his fear is if Trump is not in, if he continues to go along with everything he's doing right now, then what's to say that the liberals won't do it when they get in office?
Shit, if they get in office, I think the goal might be to make it so liberals should never get in office. I wanted to hear that thing you said on Mattel, so I tried to see what I could cue up. But you are correct. But I think so. Let me go ahead and give it a whirl. But I think what the goal is for Trump to be able to get away with a lot of stuff and maybe potentially close the door on the way out so that the liberals can't get away with the same stuff. That could be what you're talking about, where, because of this Trump supporter, if this MAGA individual is concerned that we're opening up the door too wide so that a liberal in the future could do the same shit, well, they may close that door on the way out. But let me hear what I got here.
The most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't pick it up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did that, they wouldn't sell any cars. And if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let them go, and we'll put.
He did refer to Mattel. I think they make everything from Barbie doll. He did refer to Mattel, the toy maker, as a country. Wow, that's bad. And he didn't mispronounce Mattel, so it ain't like he can say, I thought you were talking about Malaysia. He clearly said Mattel. He knew what he was saying. Wow.
Exactly. Now listen, they didn't call him Sleepy Joe, cognitive dissident, all of this. So what are we watching with Trump right now?
Somebody who's not taken a geography class, obviously.
Clearly, because Mattel is a toy company. They're not a country. It's just sad that we're watching this unfold. It's embarrassing. As an American, as a U.S. citizen, it's embarrassing. I've never felt like this about any president we've had in the history. I didn't feel like this about George Bush. I didn't feel like he was embarrassing on the world stage. I felt that he was a little dense. That's why Will Ferrell did such a great job doing him. But I wasn't embarrassed like this. This is embarrassing. He's bringing people to the table. They're sending people to that one flight that they stopped. It had Asians that they were trying to send to Libya. What are we doing? What are we doing?
It kind of reminds me. I think it's the R. Kelly song where they say you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. That's what they don't really care where you go. If you're here undocumented, if you're here illegally, or if you're just here and your invitation to stay has expired by the Trump administration, we do not care where he sends you. We just want you out of our country. So I don't care if he sends you to the North Pole. People are okay. The MAGA side of the aisle are okay with that. They are okay if he sends you somewhere that results in your immediate demise. He got you out of the country. They're happy with that. That's what we're doing. We're getting them out.
Again, and they're getting them out illegally. And that's the part of the argument that I can't stand. It's just, if you're doing something illegally, how do I...
Mike, I may have to...
if you're not doing it the right way.
Yeah, Mike, I may have to drive you because there's all kinds of breaking up in your communication. There's a lot. It's been happening but it's getting bigger. I'm going to have to drop you because there's a lot of interruption in your transmission. So I don't know what's happening because it's not showing me that you got a low bar, but appreciate you coming through, man.
It's all good.
Hey, thank you. I heard that part. All right, moving on with the program. But looking at the comments real quick, Will G says, I sent The story, I sent this story to you on Instagram. A woman in Kentucky, in a Kentucky laundromat, warned Trump's. Okay, let me read this. I'm trying to make sure I can see this right. I sent this to you earlier on Instagram. A woman in Kentucky, in a Kentucky laundromat, warned Trump's in now after she admitted to using the N-word on video during a racist meltdown. Oh, so what you're basically saying, I haven't seen that video, by the way. You're saying that a woman is using racial slurs, and she is suggesting that because Trump is president now, she's kind of free to do that. I've seen somebody else, I've seen a video of somebody else doing that as well. Look, we can talk about the presence of racism or the absence of racism or how you may feel about racism or not, or whatever the case may be. But I've said it many times on the show. If the leadership of this country is divisive and emboldening people to feel like they can say whatever the hell they want, people are going to do just that. If the leadership of this country is not talking about we need to come together as a nation and work as one, the people under the leadership are not going to do it on their own. We can talk about Biden, but Biden wasn't on television as much as Trump. And he certainly was not throwing around insults as much as Trump. Yeah, he talked about ultra MAGA with that whole speech of him in a red background with the Marines. He made a couple, he talked about the garbage once. But compared to Trump, I doubt if you look at Biden's whole 4 years in office, I would, compared to Trump's first 4 years in office, it's not even in the same galaxy, but I would dare say that Trump has probably flung around more insults in the first 3 months or so he's been in office than Biden did the whole 4 years. Because he's on TV more. And every time he's on television, he's insulting somebody, whether it's countries taking advantage of us. I forgot how many times now I'm watching The View, so take it as you may, but they talked about the fact that Trump has mentioned Biden's name in the first, like 500 and some odd times. And I don't know if it's true or not. I get that The View leans left, but any speech that Trump is giving, he's criticizing Biden. So it's more likely to be true than not. You want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome, and you don't see Biden derangement syndrome being present? I mean, the guy getting inside of a Tesla when he's telling folks to buy one of Elon's Teslas, and when he gets in the car, he says, I bet you Biden couldn't get in here. I mean, he really has an acute case of Biden derangement syndrome. So, yeah, I can see how the country would be very divided. Every time he speaks, he's insulting somebody. Now, if you're MAGA, you like that. If you're MAGA, you think what he's saying is true and they deserve it. Whatever the case may be. Well, they insulted him too, so he's only getting revenge. Whatever the case may be. The country's never going to come together from that standpoint. It's just not. And most of Trump's insults, particularly the unique ones where he's making up nicknames for people, everything from Bird Brain to Sleepy Joe, you will find that in right-wing circles. Any nickname he makes about someone that he's criticizing, MAGA adopts that same nickname and they start calling that person the exact same thing. Everything from Pocahontas on down. They're literally calling those people the exact same name that Trump creates. So you're just not going to get unity in that environment. There's just no way it's going to happen. I'm going to assume it won't be long before Jasmine Crockett has a nickname as well, because she is speaking critical of Trump and she's doing it fairly publicly. Jasmine Crockett probably will get a nickname. So it's official. Racists are comfortable to be open because of Trump. I don't want it to be official. But when you got a woman calling a toddler or a 5-year-old, whatever the case may be, the N-word, and people are literally donating money to the woman for doing that, we're divided. We're divided. That's her only claim to fame is she called a kid the N-word. She ain't done nothing special at all. And now you got other people online defending her. I did a video about the other woman. What is the woman's name? I can't even think of the damn woman's name right now. But she's all over the internet as well. And I did a video on her, but she's on Piers Morgan defending a woman who called a 5-year-old the N-word. And she said, well, I do it all the time too. Look, I don't know where the country's coming to, but if the idea that people are feeling emboldened and feeling like it's comfortable to throw around insults, yeah, I believe that is the case now. I mean, you're seeing and hearing about more and more people walking down the street with racist stuff in their hands and flags and stuff. Yeah, I see it. I mean, it's hard to deny it. It's hard to deny. How many times did Biden say he wanted to beat Trump up? I know he talked about taking him under the bleachers and doing it. Probably 2 or 3 times he said it. I think he said it about 2 or 3 times. I'm not defending him saying it, but I'm still going to tell you that if you're going to count the amount of times Biden insulted Trump versus the adverse of it, I'm going to tell you Trump has said 100 times more insults about Biden than Biden has said about Trump, because Biden is not on television anywhere near as much as Trump is. Literally on TV every day, just about every day. And every day he's on TV, he insults Biden. Every single day. You cannot put a microphone in front of him. He'll be at a summit in other countries. Well, my predecessor was stupid, or what he did was dumb. I mean, you cannot put a microphone in front of Trump without him insulting Biden. So I'm not saying that Biden was, he didn't insult Trump at all, but it's not even in the same universe. I mean, Trump insults Biden a lot because he's an attention whore who needs to have a platform, says Arsha. Well, it's working. It's working. So I guess you can't blame the man for doing what's working. Speaking of which, Arsha, good evening. Welcome to the program. So you think he's an attention whore? Really?
Hi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I'm out. I'm pulling weeds in my yard. So, yeah, I mean, okay. Never lifetime. I mean, I started voting in '92, so I first voted. Yeah, I think it was George H.W. versus Bill Clinton. It's okay that the president's not on every single day. The reason why it's okay is because, as we can tell, a lot of stupid shit can come out of a individual's mouth when they don't have a speechwriter or a leash or whatever, sometimes, like, at the end of the day, I am, me, Tim, I do not like Donald Trump, but sometimes I almost believe like it would maybe serve him better if he only showed up once a month. Just shut the fuck up.
I think, yeah, but Arsha, he's not going to, he's
the reason why is because he says so much stupid, weird, what the hell shit that it takes away from the stuff that we should really be concerned about. Because he has a really great gift of sucking all the oxygen out of the room. And, if you just shut up, people might like you more.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I'll tell you why I disagree with you. At this point,
I'm not saying, but we might be happier humans.
Yeah, happier humans and liking him more are 2 different things. I think the fact is, the liberals are not going to like Trump at this point, no matter what he does. Even if he cured cancer, they're not going to like the guy. He's done with the liberals.
I don't think he ever would, unless there's a profit for it. But my thing is, we don't have to like, there's lots of things I didn't like about George W. Bush. Lots of things. But at the end of the day, I don't think he was like inherently an asshole.
They like that. But they like that. Like in the comments right now while you're talking, Sterlo says MAGA is happy as hell. They like the asshole stuff. They like that.
Okay. And that's where, you can't help MAGA, because MAGA, they don't believe in basic human decency. Berkeley, come.
Explain.
They don't. okay, well, if you're willing to give a pass on some of the heinous things, okay, for example, that woman in the park that said those things to that boy, and then that other Somali gentleman came to the defense of this young boy who happened to be autistic, and, you know, then she started berating him as she's holding her child. Okay. She admitted that she had been doing everything that she's doing. She was definitely what took her own accountability, which, you know, congratulations, good job. But with that, you're going to have, you know, some consequences perhaps. So for the people, like if you're genuinely rooting for this woman, then you need to look inside yourself and be like, you know, what kind of fucked up human being am I? Because if you're going to give a pass on any female, you know, one, you're a racist. That's just hands down. And you are not a very nice human being.
What about the notion that as a white person, I'm tired of being sensitive on my speech where they can criticize white people from everything to how we can't dance to how we season our food, but I can't say a damn thing about black people without them calling me a racist. And yeah, she used the N-word against a little kid, but damn it, I'm happy to finally see somebody white being able to exercise free speech. Is that possible?
If you want to be championing bigotry, which is blatant, we all know what the N-word is, okay? Yeah. It's not meant with love and compassion. And, you know, I'm not going to, anybody that's going to make an excuse for a grown woman, and that woman that was on
Piers Morgan,
yeah, like I say it all the time, okay, you know, thank you for keeping it real. You're actually out there, you know, admitting what you are. What I don't want is don't fall in. Okay, if you're a Trump supporter, where is your line? Where is your red line?
But are you being unfair? Because Mama Bull in the comments points out, like, listen, black people call themselves the N-word all the damn time. Why is it that when we use it, how the hell does black people get the right to use a word? Since when is the dictionary only tailored for one race to use it?
I would like to ask that lady, does she believe that she was using that N-word in a sense of love and friendship, like black people use it towards each other?
I get your point, and I agree with you, but I'm just simply saying.
And again, those are those people. Well, black people get to say it. I'm not gonna stick the fact that you're gonna even just say that as an excuse to make it okay.
Well, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not arguing or disagreeing. Hold on.
I'm not saying you.
No. I get your point. I know you're not talking about me. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying myself, but I am going to push back a little bit and suggest that it is kind of odd for a group of people to suggest that they're the only ones that can use a word. And that is kind of what we're dealing with here. If you think the word is that harmful, then you should stop using it too.
Tim,
yes.
Tim, you and I both know, I can't say it, I'm going to get banned, but the hard R and the soft A are very different.
Yeah, but the difference between the hard R and the soft A is just because the hard A, the A folks didn't know how to pronounce it right, and they started using with an A instead of a hard R.
That's not true. But I mean, that's just.
It's the same. Come on now.
Okay. Again, I'm not gonna have a conversation.
Are you okay with
validating a white woman berating a young 5-year-old boy and then go like? There's nothing you can convince me of to say that's okay. And if anybody's going to argue and protest for that, yes, it's free speech. Yeah. Do you still believe it's right?
No, I don't. I don't believe. I think where she loses out the most is that she said it to a little kid. If she had said it to a grown adult, it is a good argument to push back and say, if the word is so bad, why the hell are you guys saying it to each other?
Again, if that is what you want, if not you, Tim, but if that is what Cassidy wants to have an argument about so that they can feel comfortable because they want to say it so bad, why do you want to say it so bad? Why?
You know how it is, Arsha. If somebody tell you not to do something, it makes you want to do it even more.
Okay. But and that's the thing I really bothers me about people on the lighter spectrum when they're so upset that they can't use that word. Do you know how many white friends I have? And none of them have been like, I really wish I could say that word to you. Not a single freaking one. No one's ever complained about it. Like, I wish I could. Because if you wish you could, why?
Well,
shouldn't we just eradicate the word anyway? Like, why are you trying so hard to get in the club? Because you don't like the people in the club. Why do you want to use the words that are, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Like,
but Arsha, to me, I get your point, but it's almost like telling kids they cannot swear. The minute they leave the house to go to school, they're outside swearing because you don't tell them they can't do this. It makes them want to do it more. I still stand by the fact that if blacks do not want the N-word used, they shouldn't use it themselves.
It is 2025. We should all know how to act in public. If you want to use the N-word inside your house amongst your family and your friends sitting around the table eating brunch, talking and this and that, so be it. But there's a way to act. And I refuse to give a pass on not acting right. I don't care if it's a kid screaming and hollering, kicking because he wants a piece of candy, or a woman saying, I want to talk to the manager because they don't have her size. Learn how to act, people. There is a special way. There's no excuse to be lacking social etiquette at this point. I thought we had evolved. Well, otherwise, you need to go to some class where you learn what fork to eat with the freaking salad, which one for the main course, and learn something about how to socialize in a normal, respectful way that is kind to your community and the people, even if you don't like them. There's a way to act.
I don't.
Smacks me in the face if I act like a fool in public.
I don't disagree with that, but you can't be telling white people to act differently than blacks. If a black person can act that way and it's acceptable, then you can't complain if a white person does the same. I gotta move it on. I'll give you the last word, though.
Wait. Hold the phone for a second. First off, I don't know. Okay, that's a whole different subject. But number two, I wanted us to talk about the whole Jeanine, the newest member of The Apprentice in season 2. Okay, she hasn't practiced law in over 20 years. She is an election denier. Yeah. It is horrible, in my opinion, that we are giving, this is why DEI is good. Because you'll get the best of the best. At this point, we have a Secretary of Defense who Donald Trump says, he'll get it together one day. I'm sorry. If I have family or people around the world that are serving our nation, I don't want somebody in charge of them that'll get it together someday. People's lives are at stake. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want a TV person. What are we going to start airing it now? Is it going to be once a week? Latest on Judge Shapiro. Like, are we really? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I think. And hopefully we'll just all make it through the show.
This is who we voted for, Arsha. Thank you for coming through.
Not we.
Us. This is our administration. This is our president, our administration.
It is our president, but I did not give him my vote, so I'm just along for the ride, hoping we all make it through.
Fair enough.
Nice to see you, Tim.
As always, thank you. All right, moving on with the program, and she's right. Some people, everybody didn't vote for the guy, but I do believe in respecting the office. And I'll say this, I hear a lot of times MAGA will tell me, or I hear MAGA telling other folks, not necessarily me, but I hear him telling other folks, he's your president, whether you like it or not. And why don't you just accept that he's president? My general pushback is you didn't accept it when Biden was president. So this time, 4 years ago, we were literally talking about Trump was still in control of the nation via the military. And they were going to arrest and possibly hang Nancy Pelosi. And Trump was going to be the 17th president in August. So that's what was being passed around. We didn't accept Biden as president. So I understand any liberal that would suggest, well, we don't have to accept Trump. He is the president. You're not going to hear it from me. I do accept him as the president, but I totally understand liberals that refuse to do so because MAGA did not accept Biden. They did not accept him as president at all. Just like you shouldn't see your boss every day. This is in regards to Trump being on TV every day. And my last guest disagreed, said, it'd be nice sometimes to not hear from the president every day. Will G says, just like you shouldn't see your boss every day unless you are in trouble. You shouldn't see the president every day unless the country is in trouble. I guess we are in trouble. Damn, that's a hell. I agree with that. I'm glad where I work at my day job, I don't see my boss every day. I like that. I actually like that atmosphere where you're not seeing him every day. I agree. I don't think we need to see the president every day. Look, he's promising to do a lot of stuff, but in terms of actually what's really happening, he's not doing enough that you need to see him every day. But Trump has been very successful in manipulating the media to his benefit. So I understand why he's doing it because it's always worked for him. And he probably will be doing it throughout his term. I mean, you probably will see Trump on television every week for the next 3.5 years, probably at least 3 days a week. At least 3 days a week. Now, right now, he's on TV. Out of a 7-day week, he's on TV almost all 7. But I would say probably at least 3 days a week, you're going to see Trump on television every single week for the next 3.5 years, at least 3 times a week. He's going to be. If you watch your Foxes, your MSNBCs, your CNNs, or News Nation, at least 3 times a week. And if he's not there, then it'll be Carolyn Leavitt, or it'll be, Speaker Johnson or somebody else speaking directly on his behalf. But you're going to see a lot of the Trump. There's good and bad in it. There's good and bad in it. It is nice to have an administration that talks to the people, but it does come along with a lot of insults, a lot of criticism, and oftentimes things that are not true. So we'll leave it at that. When people had a 400-year head start on divisive language against other races, white people used it to disparage black people, use it as endurance. Well, and he's talking about using the N-word. So he's suggesting that the reason there is a lopsided view on how whites can use the N-word versus blacks is that whites had a 400-year head start on using divisive language against other people. That's true. I mean, I'm going to assume during the era of slavery, the only divisive language was being dealt by whites. I mean, the slaves were not going to speak openly against whites. It could mean your life. So I can't disagree with that. But I do believe that the best way to get people to stop saying the N-word is for everybody to stop saying it. I mean, I'm just being honest. One of the biggest consumer, now one will say biggest, but they've become a fairly large consumer of hip hop music at this point, the white community. A lot of white kids also listen to hip hop now. And the N-word is all throughout it. So we're telling them that they can actually purchase a song and own it. They don't sell CDs anymore, but you still can buy music. You can physically buy music. And you don't want to pay money and purchase an album or whatever the hell they call them nowadays. You don't bought somebody's single or whatever version of a mixtape. You don't download it from Spotify or however you get music nowadays. You don't bought this artist's music, paid that artist money, and because of your skin color, you can't sing the words on the song. It's in the song the person bought. You know, as an African-American hip-hop artist, that some of your consumers are white. Some of your customers buying your music is white. And your music has the N-word in it. You're going to take their money and tell me they can't sing the words to the song you sold them? You got to look at it from both sides. I understand the historical context of the N-word. But if you're going to put it in music and shit, and package it up as a product and sell it to the white man for him to dance and listen to and sing at his leisure, You telling me he got to skip words? Just think about how it sounds. Just think about it. Just want you to listen to it. Think about how it sounds. Continuing on, you sell him the radio version. If you don't want him singing, when he go out and buy his CD or whatever they got it on, when he buy his song, all of the N-words are blanked out. But if you go sing the N-word to him, what do you expect him to do? And I'm going to ask this because I guess it happens at concerts in real life. Let's say you are white and you go to a Lil Wayne concert, or you go to Plies or any of the folks who are known for saying the N-word in their music, which is most of the hip hop community outside of maybe Eminem. So you go to a concert as a white person, and the guy is on stage singing the N-word. Let's say, for instance, when you get to the breakdown, the N-word is part of it, part of the hook. The artists on stage, they sometimes will sing their music, and when they want they don't aim the microphone at the audience, and the audience sings the part of the song they know. So if you don't pay your ticket price, your price of admission to get in that concert, and you're standing among hundreds of other concert goers, the N-word is coming up. You just happen to have light skin tone. And the artist aims the microphone at the audience, and everybody around you is saying the N-word is part of that song, and you have paid the exact same ticket price as all of the other concert goers around you. Is it not unfair to suggest that you can't say what everybody else in the auditorium is saying? Do you not see? I'm just telling you, this is what's happening in real life. This is what, and by the way, the whole comment that they say it from a racist standpoint and blacks say it as a term of endearment. When you're in that concert, you are saying it as a term of endearment. You're not saying it as a racist term. If you're singing it on the song, along with the artist, you're dancing around just like everybody else in the venue. You are saying it as a term of endearment, right? Somebody let me know what I'm getting wrong. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Like I said, you got to be able to see both sides of the issue. So I don't know. If white people want to use it, they can. But it just tells them who they really are, though. I don't know, Will, the example I gave, that if you're at a concert and you're partying along with everybody else and the N-word comes up and you say it, as far as I'm concerned, at that point, it's kind of like a term of endearment. I don't think you've paid money to get in a venue and see a black concert goer, and you're just repeating his music back at him, which he wants you to do when you're dancing. I don't think you're being racist to that artist when you're doing that at that time. At that point, it's a term of endearment. That's the way I'm looking at it. Trump has an NIL deal. Will G. Trump has a lot of deals. Evil, super, major, and boo. Just like what the caller said, we need to have morals. We forgot as human beings. Archifying was right on all levels. They shouldn't be using it, but people are not disciplined. But like I said, I'm going to say that both ways. I just believe that the best way to get the N-word out of the vocabulary is everybody need to stop using it. Because the idea that blacks use it as a term of endearment and whites use it from a racial standpoint, that's not black and white. There are plenty of folks who will be wielding a weapon or a stick, a bat, a firearm, a knife, or whatever. Black person holding a weapon, talking to another black person. You touch me, N-word, I'll kill your ass. That's not a term of endearment. Blacks use the N-word from a standpoint of negativity too. It's not always used as a term of endearment. Just want to say that. Some African Americans, the last term they heard was, the N-word. So I don't know. I don't know if it's always used as a term of endearment. I just simply say the best way if you want to get rid of it, you don't want to hear it, you got to stop saying it. Hip-hop was invented. Hip-hop wasn't interested for a white audience. White people just gravitated towards it. In the beginning, Will. In the beginning, I don't know. I'm trying to think. No, I can't agree with that because Fab Five Freddy, he goes way back, stated that he was excited when he found out that Blondie, who's, pale white girl, was going to be on his album. He wanted her on there. So I don't know. Fab Five Freddy, she gave a shout out to him or something like that. He did an interview when he said when he heard Blondie gave him a shout out, he wanted her to consume his music. So I don't know if I would agree with you when you say hip hop wasn't interested for a white audience. White people just gravitated to it. I think that it's hard to say. I think in the beginning, it was the shit that was happening on the street and whites couldn't relate to it. But as it, there are rebels and all of that shit within the white community as well. And some of them do gravitate to the black community. And I just think it caught on. And once it caught on and became financially lucrative, then it's going to open up the door. But I don't know. I think that I think that plenty of artists were happy to have white consumers because they got more money. There's more money in the white community, particularly in the infancy years of rap music. I mean, wasn't Run DMC doing music with Mick Jagger and all of them, Walk This Way and all of that stuff? I mean, those are white people. They were doing that in the 80s. So they were fine with it. And Run DMC was the biggest artist at the time back then. Evil, Super Mage, and Boo. And I remember that was when I was in like high school. Walk This Way came out. That's, that's what a white group. White people. Now, Public Enemy, you might be if you want to talk about hip, it wasn't it wasn't for white audience. If you want to talk about KRS-One or Public Enemy, they didn't have any desire to work with white people at all. Yeah, there are people that were like that, particularly in the conscious rap. In the conscious rap avenue, they didn't want. Yeah, they were pointing out the negativities of the white community, everything from racism to slavery. I mean, some of them were using sampling. They were sampling at Farrakhan in some of these shit. So yeah, them folks, X-Clan with the red, the black, the king. What is it? The red, the black, the green with the keys, sissy. For some of you folks who are old enough. But there was plenty of hip hop artists that were fine with working with the white community. Looking in the comments though, white people, I can't believe we're reading this so much. NWA, I don't know. I don't know if NWA was anti-white. They were anti-police. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some of these songs. I don't think anything they did was really anti-white. I think they did believe the system was against the black man. I get that. Well, yeah, maybe so. Because what was it? As soon as y'all get some dough, you want to put a white bitch on your elbow. I think that was Ice Cube. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that with NWA. All right, looking at the comments, white people want to be like a black person so damn much, but they sure don't want to suffer as badly as we do. That's what the difference is. They want to have everything, but they don't want to suffer. Could be a lot of validity in that. I'm not going to argue with that at all. All right, let me go back to the box. Vanilla. Well, I cannot believe what I'm reading here, but we weren't talking about hip hop. But this person states that Vanilla Ice is the greatest rapper of all time. Really? I'm going to just laugh ahead of time. Because Vanilla Ice was not known for putting together great lyrics. He had one good dance track. The other one belonged to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Vanilla Ice is not known as a good rapper. But I'll go to somebody who might think otherwise. MAGA reacts. Good evening, MAGA. Vanilla Ice, what say you?
Yeah, greatest rapper of all time, for sure.
Really? Okay. Rank him above Eminem, huh?
No. Okay. My top two is Eminem and DMX. From 2000 to 2008, I had every song they had.
DMX, huh?
What's up?
DMX.
DMX is my number one.
Wow.
I actually had him ride my motorcycle. I used to ride with Rough Riders here in Miami, and we went to this radio event, and they all walked to some Wendy's on the street. I rode my bike, and then on the ride back, they told me to show this guy the radio station. So I actually like jumped the road and like went against traffic to take a shortcut to the radio station. And this crazy guy in the Bentley actually followed me and went against traffic too. Like, I'm on a bike, I could get away with it, but he just followed me. I was like, damn, this guy's crazy. And then I pull over and he comes up to me is this and asks me, is this it? And he goes down his window and it's fucking DMX.
Really? Wow.
And then he parks, and I'm like, in Miami, we don't really try to be groupies. So he parks, I park away from him, and I'm like, don't be a groupie, don't be a groupie. I'm like just standing away from him, you know? And he walks straight to me and asks if I could ride my motorcycle. And bro, I was so nervous, I couldn't even get like the key in the fucking bike.
DMX took your shit and rode it, huh? Did you?
He almost crashed it too, because apparently he knew how to ride ATVs, but he didn't really know how to ride motorcycles.
Well, yeah, he has the ATVs in that video. Stop, shop, let him out. You know. I cannot think of how the song goes, but that whole video was a bunch of them riding those ATVs.
Yeah, those bikes are ancient compared to what I was riding, and yeah, I had a brand new R1, and he fucking almost crashed it because where we were waiting for him was it was like what's it called? Like blocks. Like it wasn't concrete. It was just a blocky area with it's a roundabout that was just blocky, and it had. It was.
I can't believe that you're not only a big fan of DMX, but you also got a chance to meet him briefly. I can't exactly invite you to the cookout, but if you meet me in the back, I'll give you some potato salad. I mean, I wouldn't expect this from you. So, did you have a MAGA hat on the bike when you handed it to DMX?
This was before MAGA. This is
I know. I get
his first album.
Depot said potato salad with raisins. Oh my god. So I mean, go ahead.
It was like a 3 months period where I met DMX. I went to a Diddy party, one of his club parties. I met Jordan like the week after.
Do people actually admit still that they went to Diddy parties?
I didn't even think of it too much until I got on my Facebook, and one of the first photo albums was like me bragging about a Diddy party.
I thought you were about to say it. You said I didn't think about it until I went in my Facebook. I thought you were about to say I didn't think about it that much until I was on my face. But okay. Diddy party, huh? How was that? Was there anything interesting going on?
No, I mean, he was roped off in his little section, you know, listening to his new album. I was having fun.
So you were out at a public establishment.
Yeah, this was a nightclub. This wasn't like a home party.
Yeah, so this is like he's basically sitting in VIP or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, this is 2006, before all the craziness.
No, I'm sure the craziness was happening in 2006 as well. P. Diddy's like older than me. You don't get horny in your later years. He's been doing that for a while. You're just hearing about it. I'm sure he was doing it in 2006 for sure. I mean, he was super rich back then, and he was much younger with more testosterone. I'm sure Diddy parties were in full swing back then.
Listen, I don't know about Diddy, but when I met Jordan, he was hitting on some girl, like, I had some young girls with me.
How the fuck you meeting all these people?
I was in Miami. It was like a certain point when my friend would get a call, any celebrities at any nightclub. Like, I just knew promoters. And, you know, and then I knew a bunch of college girls, so, you know, they're like, if you have 2 college girls with you, you can get almost into any club, no problem.
I'm expecting you in Miami. I'm expecting to hear about Luke and Trick Daddy and Trina and all. You coming up with these folks I didn't know they was even from the area.
I mean, this is, again, Luke and Trina. I mean, I didn't race him personally, but I was there and I saw Trick Daddy race one of his donks. And I've never met Trina. Pitbull. Pitbull I used to see all the time. Like, he was a scrub when I met him, and I actually used to date his baby mama's sister. She used to ride on my
How the hell you come up through all of this and now you voting Trump?
I mean, one thing has nothing to do with the other.
Yes, it does. I mean, like, you can't even get in any of these parties talking about you vote for Trump. They would look at you like you came in with paste pecani sauce. Get a rope. You would not be allowed in any of this shit talking like this.
Again, Trump wasn't a thing back then, but you know, we went to Daytona's Bike Week with basically Pitbull's baby mama while she was pregnant with his kid. And we had it was like 10 bikes, and we gave them the room with the bikes so they could have it to themselves. I mean, we were young, broke, and just having fun.
Sounds like you had a lot of fun. So anyway, getting back to the actual topic, did you hear about Judge Jeanine Pirro getting a promotion?
Yeah, I was like, damn, is Tim gonna stop watching Fox now that his girl's gone? Because that's your girl. Like, anytime you talk about watching Fox, you talk about something she said.
I actually watch a lot of Fox, and I'll tell you something. I started watching MSNBC for the first time ever, probably about a year or so ago, because Fox has went so far to the right that they've pushed me further to the left in terms of the news I consume. It's just, I used to like the way Fox presented the news from a conservative perspective when they stood on conservative principles. I didn't agree with it, but I liked the way they presented the news. They had attractive anchors and all that shit. They just presented the news better. But now that they literally are just like the Trump network, they're not enjoyable to watch anymore, because I've been watching them so long that I can actually think in my mind of times when they criticize politicians for doing things that Trump is doing now, and they're defending it. So I know they don't stand on any morals. If you've watched Fox as long as I have, you've seen them really tear into politicians for doing some of the same stuff that they're now defending Trump for. So it's like, you actually you don't have any principles. I know you don't like this. You're just agreeing with it because Trump did it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I don't watch Fox as much as I used to either. The only person I watch is Brett Baer, because he's the only one that's like legit, you know, like that. He's not partisan. He just tells the news, and that's it.
Yeah. Even O'Reilly, who I still kind of follow, he's now on News Nation and he does his own podcast. He even stated that when he was at Fox, he left in 2017. He stated, when I was there, about 67% of the audience was conservative and the rest were independent and liberal. He said now Fox, he said about 95% of Fox is right folks, and 90% of them are MAGA. He stated himself that Fox News is the Trump network. He said, if I was Trump, I would love Fox. This is O'Reilly saying this. He said that, Fox News is essentially the Trump network. And I agree. I mean, they would defend, they're like you, MAGA. Like my audience say you are.
I agree with you, but I don't think they're like me. I tend to be my own. I'm sure I've given you points of view that no regular MAGA will ever think of.
Well, if you're going to give me a point of view that no MAGA would think of, I want to give you one. You may have heard this earlier, but this is coming out of the Trump network.
Administration officials have told CBS News the U.S. could soon start deporting migrants to Libya. Flights to the North African country could take off as early as this week, despite the nation's years-long history of violence, civil war, and humanitarian rights concerns. Camila Montoya Galvez joins me now. Camila, why Libya?
Well, the main objective here, John, is deterrence. The Trump administration wants to send a strong message to the world, really, that if you come to the U.S. illegally or stay here unlawfully, not only can you face deportation to your home country, but you could also be sent across the Atlantic to a troubled African country like Libya. And
do you agree with that?
No, but I do understand it. A lot of these, somebody was saying there were Asian people being sent to Libya earlier, and I'm like, okay, they came in through Mexico. So
you understand sending folks to a country that is engulfed in violence, where they may lose their life. You understand that?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not for it, but I understand like why they're picking Libya. They're taking whoever they can send these people to. I don't think they're particularly. I don't know if the violence is part of the deterrence, or they just want to send them back. I don't know.
Let me ask you.
I haven't really been able to digest it.
Does that not appear to be cruel that you're so eager to get illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants out of your country that you'll send them somewhere where they may be killed? I mean, does that not come across as cruel?
Yeah, but are they limited to where they can send them? Why did they pick Libya? If you're correct and they're just being cruel, then yeah, that's fucked up. But if they're just limited to Libya because it's one of the few countries that will take them, then I can understand.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask it to you this way: if someone is in this country illegally, and there's nowhere to send them but a violent area like that, what is so wrong with just finding a way to let them stay here? I mean, we're not talking about legal. We're not talking about whether immigration is legal or not. At this point, we're talking about saving a human life. Isn't the right the party that's calling themselves the pro-life party? I mean, what is it? Once you're alive, we don't care about whether you live or not. We only care when you're unborn. I mean, you're talking about sending people somewhere where they may die. How do you even understand that?
I agree with you. Like, we should just stop new people from coming in and leave it at that. But you see how all these leftists keep criticizing how he's not deporting as much people as Biden or Obama. You know, what did Gangster Grandma say? He hasn't deported anywhere near as many people as Biden. And definitely isn't touching Obama's record just because, you know, he's not letting him come in the first place. So I think he's doing it for deterrence. You know, sending 200 people to Libya is stopping like thousands or even hundreds of thousands from coming here because they're worried that they'll be sent back to Libya.
Is there a line though? Is there like, okay, if somebody comes in this country illegally, they are totally in the wrong. They have no damn place in this country legally. Is there a line that you believe should be drawn of what you can do to that person? I mean, yes, they're here illegally. They broke the law. They don't belong in our country. But does that mean they qualify for any punishment whatsoever?
No, again, I don't agree with any of this shit. I think they should just be deported and that's it. But on the other hand, more people got hurt and killed with the Biden's open border than anybody has gotten hurt.
How do you know that? If Trump is deporting people and if Trump is deporting people and you never hear from them again, how do you know some of them are not being hurt?
Because he's only deported like 200-300 people that, you know, on airplanes to El Salvador, it was only 200 people, right? During Biden's open border, those 4 years, we're finding dead bodies all over the place. You know, who do you trust more, El Salvador and Trump, or?
What do you mean? What do you mean by we're finding dead bodies? What are you talking about?
Well, people were drowning, people were dying crossing the desert, people were getting essayed and abused by the cartel. They were getting robbed. They were getting taken advantage of. I'm sure a lot of people got hurt more through the illegal underground railroad than, you know, the cartel one, not the actual one.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but didn't we just hear about? I don't know if that. Huh?
What's up?
I was going to say, I hear what.
All over the place.
They just had a, and this was caught on video. They just had some type of raft or some type of boat. They were trying to sneak in the country around the wall down there by San Diego, and the whole boat capsized and 3 or 4 people drowned. That just happened this week. People still are dying.
Yeah, but not like before. They were finding dead bodies all over the place. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You know, you do videos of the sheriffs on the border, and they'll tell you about it.
I hear your point, but I guess I would push back and say this. I'm not for now the Biden administration. If they find bodies in the desert from somebody trying to sneak here through Biden's alleged open borders or something like that, they'll tally it up and give you the numbers. I'm not for certain the Trump administration will even tell you. I'm not for certain they won't bury that person in a potter's field and not even give you the numbers of who was found. The Trump administration is not only about securing the border, they are about vanity. They want to project an image, and they only want to project an image that makes the administration look good. So if numbers are out there that makes the administration look bad, I'm not for certain they're going to tell you those numbers. So if you got a mother and kid that drowned in the Rio Grande or something and nobody knows anything about it, it wouldn't surprise me if they went and got their bodies out, buried them in a potter's field, you didn't hear nothing about it. So I don't always trust the numbers coming from the Trump administration because the man didn't even tell you his weight and height correctly when he got a mugshot. That guy does not tell the truth on numbers.
One has nothing to do with the other, and then you don't have to trust them. You just YouTube videos of the border right now and compare the same people who were making videos 2 years ago about how bad the border is. You know, the same guy just made a video right now and shows you how clean and how nice the border is, how there isn't lines of people, you know, just waiting to be taken. And, you know, he interviewed those people, and they even themselves tell you about how bad things were. And yeah, just watch the videos on YouTube.
Yeah, but Maga reaction the videos on YouTube. Yeah, but the videos on YouTube they also tell me Trump lost the 2020 election and nobody's eating pets in Springfield. Should we believe those too?
Again, that's people talking. We're talking about videos of actual migrants getting interviewed.
Yes, actual migrants getting interviewed in Springfield say they're not eating pets. Actual migrants getting interviewed. Should we believe them?
Well, that's the negative. We're talking about, like, you know, I'm not going to go down these black holes. You know, again, you don't have to take my word for it. Do your own research. It seems to be the fact on the ground from everything I've seen. So you don't have to take my word for it.
Okay.
Do your own research.
All right, Maga, I got to move it on, but thanks for coming through.
No problem. There's a couple other things I wanted to mention, but I forgot.
All right, we'll do it next time.
Yeah, the other thing is we don't think Trump's perfect. You know, somebody, Michael, I think, said that we believe everything Trump says and we think, you know, he's God or something. No, we know his flaws. And the difference between him and
Give me 3 lies. Give me 3 lies. Give me 3 lies that Trump has told.
Well, his height and weight, like you just said.
Give me 3 new ones. Give me 3 of them that I didn't give you.
I can't think of any of them off the top of my head.
I gotta go. God, you gonna tell me you can't come up with 3 lies of a man who's given 30,000 and said MAGA? You're always invited back on the show, but I had to let you go when you said something like that. You don't think he's flawless. You admit he's not always honest. But then when I asked you to give me just 3 lies, this guy's told tens of thousands of things that are not true. You couldn't come up with 3? Really? Okay. All right. The election is won. Jesus Christ. All right, let me go on the box. That dude is smoking Mountains Vanilla Ice was okay, but not the damn best. Come on, man. No, I think he was smoking something as well to suggest that Vanilla Ice was the best rapper. He said, come on, Prince is the best. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I don't think even Vanilla Ice would tell you he's the best rapper. I don't even think he would say something crazy like that. I mean, there's a ton of folks that, I don't even think Vanilla Ice is in the top 100. And it would take me a while to come up with 100 different artists. I don't even think Vanilla Ice would be in the top. If you told somebody to name you the best rapper, and you sat down with them for an hour while they were going through their brain trying to figure out who they could come up with, they probably would never mention Vanilla Ice's name. It would just probably never come up. They would run out of people to give you. I can't think of anybody else. And you still would be like, Vanilla Ice's name would just never come up. He's not even in the running for somebody that would be considered as best rapper. Well, yeah, Aerosmith, but Walk This Way was supposed to be a crossover. If it wasn't all hip hop, think about how Russell and Reverend Ron Simmons wanted to branch out to get rich. Well, I think that, listen, artists want money. You know, if you're an artist, you want people to enjoy your work. And most artists don't want their work to only be enjoyed by one group of people. It kind of reminds me of Malcolm X when Denzel Washington was playing his character in the movie Malcolm X, and he was marching or something like that, or on his way to something. And a white woman walked up and asked, "What can I do to help you with your cause?" And he said, "Nothing." Somebody like that don't want any help. But most hip hop artists, yeah, if I can make money off the white man, they're not going to turn it down. So my guess is most artists, even in that era, the Heavy D's, Who else would have been back then? I'm about to say Roxanne Shante, but I'm trying to think something. Even back in those days, Eric B. and Rakims and all of them, they would have wanted white people at their shows as well. I mean, if they're buying T-shirts and all of that other shit, sell it to them. At the end of the day, they only see green. I mean, I can't imagine even in the infancy of rap music that they would not want white people in the building. If you're spending money, you're spending money. Hip hop wasn't intended for a white audience, would you? You definitely know how hard it was to even get on the airways. The only reason why he had to get Walked His Way was NWA and Public Enemy was too scary. I gotta push back because Walk This Way, I'm thinking that came out before NWA. I don't even think NWA was around when. Okay, the NWA. I know the N-Word for Life album. The second one I think was '91. I think they came out in the very, very late '80s. Very, very late. NWA. I think Walk This Way was. I think Run DMC and Walk This Way was already around before NWA even formed. I'd have to look it up. Now, Public Enemy, like I said, Public Enemy was a whole different ball of wax. They were anti-white. Like I said, they were using Farrakhan clips. They were anti-white. But NWA, I think they did not exist until after Public Enemy. I mean, until after Run DMC. I believe Run DMC was first. Don't tell me about Eminem. Be MAGA. What do you say there, Will? Don't tell me about Eminem. Be MAGA hates him and essentially has a black card. Well, I saw somebody in the comments said once MAGA Reacts was talking about hanging around DMX and seeing Pitbull and all. He said I like him. I hate him a little bit less now. His path of what he grew up with and ended up as a Trump supporter. You wouldn't normally expect that, but I mean, I've talked to some black folks that are straight out of the hood and they support Trump. I mean, some folks just simply believe Kamala Harris and Biden were not the right people for the job. Some folks believe they were making much more money under the first Trump administration. So they reelected them based on the economy. I mean, there were some people who genuinely believed, even black people, even people of color, that Kamala Harris just was not right for the job. Paid actors. Will G. Who are you referring to there? A bunch of rappers went for Trump. A. Ross, I don't know who. Bunch of rappers went for Trump. Okay, he pardoned Post Malone and Lil Wayne. So maybe they went for Trump. I know Nelly and Snoop were paid performers. I think that's what you're talking about, Will. Paid performers at his inauguration party or something like that. But that don't mean they voted for him. That just means he wanted to get them to come to the venue and perform. A lot of rappers did not. I don't believe a lot of rappers went for Trump. I don't even think you can probably name 10 well-known rappers that voted for Trump. I don't believe that a lot of them went for Trump. Some maybe, but a lot, no. I think most of the rappers the few rappers that went for Trump are folks that he personally did something for. People that either somewhere along their career or lifespan, he personally did something for them. They didn't vote for Trump because they thought his policies were better than Kamala or Biden. They voted for Trump because he personally did something for them. And that's not a lot of rappers out of the hip hop community. That's not going to be a lot of them. So I don't think a lot of rappers vote for Trump. Lil Wayne keeps it 100. Bullshit. Lil Wayne would be somebody you were demanding spend the rest of his life in prison if he wasn't siding with Trump. Lil Wayne has a host of felonies on his rap sheet. And when Trump pardoned him, he had yet another additional gun charge by a prohibited possessor, which is what Trump pardoned him for. If Lil Wayne was not siding with Trump, most MAGA would be suggesting he should be put under the damn jail. So Lil Wayne keeps it 100% bullshit. Lil Wayne is supporting Trump, and that's all it takes for you to have a different mindset about him. Paid actors at the borders. Snoop, Rick Ross, wanted the bread. Yeah, I think that's what it is that the rappers that performed for Trump did it because Trump gave them a bunch of money. And in my opinion, and I'm not going to hate on anybody for getting paid, getting the bag as they put it, but Snoop and Ross are like infinitely wealthy. Snoop and Ross are already set for life. They don't need the backlash that comes with performing for Trump. They just don't need it. I mean, look, I don't know what Trump paid Snoop or what he paid Nelly or what he paid Rick Ross to perform, but particularly Snoop and Rick Ross. I mean, Nelly ain't broke by any stretch of the imagination. He's worth millions as well. But Rick Ross and Snoop are like worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, you don't need the drama that comes along with your community is going to be pissed off with you performing. I mean, this is literally money that's going to go in a bank that you're never going to touch for the rest of your life. You don't really, I mean, you could just book a quick few concerts and make that money back. I'm really surprised, particularly with Snoop, because he has a video from Trump's first term where he is literally saying that anybody who performs for Trump is a fucking sellout. And asking the question, who's going to be the first one to sell out? And then now you're here? It just didn't age well for Snoop at all. I don't know why any of them would do that, considering that their consumer base is overwhelmingly black and anti-Trump. Listen, if you're just starting out and you need the money, that's one thing. But if you're at Rick Ross's level, you just don't need this. I mean, you know, as some people often say, all money ain't good money. Anyway, looking in the comments, I lost a lot of respect for him, says Luigi. A lot of people did. A lot of people did. Tim is the, what is it? Tim is the shit. Thank you, Evil Major Super Boo. I appreciate that. Tim is the shit. Thank you for cutting a MAGA react. Well, he couldn't come up with 3 lines. Come on now. It's about damn time. Now I'm sounding like what is the chick's name? It's about damn time. Anyway, it's about damn time. Here are 3 lies of Trump. Number 1, he lied about making things cheaper. Housing, mortgage. Number 2, gas prices. He said gas is down to $1.89, $1.98. That's not true. And of course the tariffs. Well, he lied about I was going to say the tariffs. The jury's still out on the tariffs. So we don't know if they'll work or not. But he did tell folks he was not going to suspend the tariffs, and the next day he did it. And by the way, the stuff that he is pointing out, even Major Super Boo, which is even more so impressive, is he's pointing out lies that Trump has told in only the last few weeks. I mentioned the election and the Haitian migrants. My shit is like 6 months old. He's pointing out stuff that's very recent. So yeah, the fact that MAGA reacts would say that we don't view Trump as flawless. We call him out. And then when I asked him, give me 3 lies, and he couldn't come up with one. Yeah. That's why I clipped him real quick. Gasoline is $3 a gallon in the D. He lied. Gasoline is more than $1.98 a gallon just about anywhere you go in America. I don't think there's anywhere in America that fits what he stated. And he said gas is that low in several states. That was the quote. He said it's like that in several states. That's flat out false. That's not even remotely true. So yeah, no more wars. I don't know. He campaigned on no wars. But he didn't, I mean, he's in the office now, and he obviously didn't meet the narrative of ending the Ukraine-Russian war in 24 hours. He didn't do that. But like I said, if you can't come up with 3, it's surprising. RP, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, RP. Hopefully the box works. I was bloviating a minute there. Mine didn't get forgiven because I'm white. What did not get forgiven, Sherlo? The box is freezing. I don't know what's happening here, but we'll continue on here. The natural average of gasoline is $3.15 a gallon. Yeah, like I said, it's one thing you can say some things, and because the public is not necessarily in the know, you might be able to temporarily get away with it. Like I've made tariff deals with how many countries? He said 100 and some countries, something weird. You could kind of have a slight amount of time for plausible deniability by saying we're not going to tell you the deal until it's 100% finalized. But you telling somebody the price of gas is $1.98 in several states. That's way too easy to fact check to expect to get away with that lie. Not only that, but $1.98 a gallon is so much cheaper than what most Americans are paying that people are going to be surprised to hear that and really want to know where the hell are people paying that low for fuel. I mean, that's just telling a lie for the sake of lying. That people are going to fact check that. My guess is that when he said that in front of the reporters, on the way out of the room with their notepads in their hands and shit, they were already, that's a lie. I mean, they knew that some of the stuff he says is so bad you can kind of fact check it while it's coming out of his mouth. And that one is real bad. That you got gas under $1.98 in several states. That just made no sense. Only the hardcore criminal migrants. You listen to the Trump administration. I had somebody on the program once, and I asked them what percentage of the illegal immigration population do you believe are violent felons? Because, Trump says that they're not sending us their best and brightest. They're sending us their rapists and murderers. I assume some of them are good people. What percentage of the illegal immigration population do you think are those kind of people? And I had somebody tell me about 25%. Trump claims there's 18 million illegals. If 25% of them are violent felons, that's a lot of people. That's literally millions of people. I can understand absolutely why MAGA don't give a damn what happens to them when they're deported. If you really believe that many of them are rapists, murderers, and robbers and all of that shit, I could totally understand. That's a really, really high percentage. I doubt if it's 1%, in my opinion. I doubt if it's 1%. But that's a really, really high percentage. And that was an individual that truly believed that. So there you go. Anyhow, do more late programs, boom. Well, the problem is I got a day job that I have to get up for. So I can only do so late. Which is, I'm going to go ahead and state I appreciate the 62,000 in the like category. I didn't solicit you guys to tap the screen as much as I should have lately, but I'll be happy with the 62 when it should have been around at least 70 to 80. So thank you folks that did tap the screen. If you enjoy this type of open dialogue from all sides of the aisle without a host that's trying to block, ban, or censor you for your commentary, then you are in the right place because we truly believe in free speech. We are MAGA friendly. We'll criticize the hell out of any politician in office, but we remain MAGA friendly. Liberals are welcome on the program as well. If you like that, feel free to follow the program if you're on TikTok or Instagram. And give your boy a subscription if you're on YouTube. Nevertheless, I do have to step away. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll catch you tomorrow. And you folks have a splendid night. Try not to tell any lies, since we covered so much of that. I gotta go. I think I gotta go. Do I? There we go.